In this world, women are 10 times stronger than men, which is every feminist's dream. Unfortunately, once again, patriarchy will thrive, which is their nightmare. Hands on his chest, life shortener in hand, bro just woke up and is about to finish the game. But he holds back, because in this inverted world, this girl is the equivalent of a Diddy. She wants to throw some baby oil on my boy, but he ain't feeling it. Little boy, come here and let mommy show you some motion. Bro freezes for a second and remembers that he was a badass swordmaster, the strongest man the world had ever seen. And now he's in this stranger's body. He wants to leave. She wants to get freaky. Since girls are supposed to be stronger, she tries to pull a Diddy classic, but my man ain't having it and turns on his aura. He jumps back and dips from the party. Unfortunately, Diddy enjoyed that roughness from our boy, but now, outside, he's completely confused. A boy gets told to stop crying by his girlfriend, and then she lovingly hugs him. A 7-foot Chad worker girl boss just pushed him aside. Girls are doing jobs that are not about talking. What the hell is going on? He reads some books and learns that every king in general was a woman. Men are getting pressed against walls by girls. Bro's shocked and decides to head back home, just to find his dad wearing a cute apron, but he's happy anyway, because he hadn't seen his father in a literal millennium. But when his dad smells Diddy's baby oil on our boy, he gets scared and scolds him for getting close to those maniacs who will ride him by force. Our MC is like, "What? Forget it. Go call your sister for dinner." He slowly opens the doorknob and finds Chu Xiao watching some anatomy lessons on CornTube, and by the toilet paper she had made a lot of notes on the topic. "Ayo, come have dinner you ugly ass loser sister." She gets scared but then leaves the room with a relaxed and satisfied expression. MC tries to ask what she thinks she was doing, and she just admits the guy was fun and hot. Yeah, these girls are not holding back in the comments department. Later that day, his sister demands some money to eat out with friends and do some business. And strangely, the dad just complies. Our MC is confused and asks why. The dad explains that he has to let her be more free because she needs experience in life, while he should stay at home and wait to find a good woman to marry him. A little later, mom comes home and he goes for a hug, but she thinks he's pretending and just gives him some money like it's nothing. Right after seeing how they act, he almost vomits. Seeing his dad act all cute was too much for Lil Bro. In his room, he finds thousands of love letters. It's clear that Bro is playing the game on very easy mode right now. He decides to gather some energy to recover his powers, when suddenly he receives a call from his sister. On the other side, it's the ugly bitches gang holding his sister hostage. They demand money to release her. With no other option, he goes to save his sister immediately. But those poor girls have no idea that patriarchy is about to arrive. The door opens. "I'm here, damn it. Bro, you're a weak and cute femboy. What did you come here to do?" "Shut up. Get this bag, blue-haired crazy feminist." The libtard stands up and says our protagonist is very cute. "What's your age?" she asks. "Doesn't matter." Blue-haired gets angry but sees the bag of money and calms down, while Sister Chan shouts for our boy to go away. By the way, no Alabama, but she's way hotter than all the girls so far. With the money on the table, Blue Hair allows the sister to go, but the moment they turn away, the ugly duck says the boy must stay. They're going to have a fun time with the young blood. Sweet Home protects our boy, saying no one's going to touch him, but Blue-haired really wants that sex offender accusation. "Ayo sister, step aside." Boom, feet into the desk. "Listen up, I ain't getting squishy and slimy with anyone here. Y'all ugly as hell looking like my cousin from another life." Blue-haired gangsta is about to say something when, slap. +1 for patriarchy. Sister's confused, and the gangsta tries to punch our boy, only to get countered with sheer force and sent flying. Patriarchy +2. The Mexican gang comes jumping for our Sigma, but he's just smiling amid the chaos. One jump, and 5 seconds later, feminism is on the ground. Brother and sister are about to leave when suddenly Blue Hair pulls out the Fortnite. Sister steps in front to protect him, but my boy wants to stand on business. But that's when she appears. Baby Oil Queen. She instantly remembers our boy, and he remembers her too. With that, Diddy orders Blue Hair to be taken out and killed. Damn. Ruthless. And of course, she wants our boy and says he's going to be her boyfriend number 36. He refuses, but the situation keeps escalating, so he bets his freedom on an arm wrestling match. Diddy laughs, saying that she, Chen Shi, would never lose to a man, and here we are, face to face, hand to hand, start. She turns on her aura, and Bro is struggling for real, but then he uses the energy he farmed in his room. Patriarchy +3. 1 second later, he's up saying bye, and as he leaves, Diddy is left sitting there, confused and fuming. For losing to a guy, Wu is seriously annoyed. One of the security guards steps up saying she's going after him, but just gets a slap from her boss. Irritated, she tells her to chill, saying she hasn't lost him yet. From the stage, she calls out to Chu King, saying he surprised her, but he better remember that a guy like him is meant to support a woman's wings, and her offer still stands. Annoyed, the educator asks why guys have to stick to women, saying they have their own feet and hands to carve their own paths. Seeing this, one of the girls questions if he's got a bad brain or something. Smirking, Wu says that since forever, guys have been chased by women, so women are the real backbone of this world. And they're the ones steering social change. Wrapping her hair, she says even kids know this. At that moment, one of the girls asks what's so great about a guy like him, and questions how many male heroes she thinks exist in stories, concluding that women are way more important in society. Stepping up, the protagonist grills Wu, asking what she means by that. Pointing up, he states that all he knows is that men are always fighting to level up. So, resting in the lap of a beautiful woman and working hard for rewards is just what a guy does. After this mic drop, he simply leaves with his sister. Nervous, one of the security guards calls for Miss Wu. Her boss then asks if she doesn't find this guy amazing, saying he's totally her type and she won't let him slip away. In that moment, the security guard calls for Miss Wu, saying they need her back ASAP. But the woman says she's only been gone for 2 days, then asks how she can come back now and that they should stop calling her that since her sister is still alive. Sometime later, already at night, Xiao is walking with her brother and asks if he's not going to tell their parents about this. But the boy replies that he totally will and questions what she could have done if it weren't for him. Deeply annoyed, the girl asks if he was, then threatening her about what went down. Stopping to think about it now, she asks how he got so strong, and she wonders if she can't marry Yichin in the future, since she's from a super important family in the city. She figures that if they tie the knot, she'll totally benefit, plus she's only a few years older than him, which leaves the dude feeling totally crushed. Super annoyed, he tells her to shut it, saying that one more word and he'll send her back to that bar. Then, some time passes at the protagonist's crib while he meditates, thinking he needs to get his old power back ASAP since his current skills are just not cutting it. For now, he's only sharpened his vision from all that training. Meanwhile, his sister is there, turning to her little bro, telling him to ditch those pants already because she's impatient. But the protagonist hears this, using his training to sharpen his senses. Feeling crushed, he thinks this Chu Xiao is worse than his sister from the original world. The next day, at Inman Secondary School, the hero is already decked out in his school uniform, ready to hit class. In the background, someone calls him by name. Confused, he wonders if this is by any chance his best bud Lin Dong. At that moment, his friend rolls up, asking what he was up to yesterday and why he ghosted his calls. Quickly, the boy steps back. Not getting it, his friend asks why he's acting so weird. Laughing, Chu just says to forget it, that he's fine, and he's already bouncing. As he walks away, he thinks this Barbie is not his friend at all. Already in the classroom, Chu is feeling down, saying he can't take it anymore in this world. Suddenly, someone pokes him on the shoulder. Confused, the boy looks to the side. It's Song Xiaoran, the class president, asking Chu if he's not feeling well. Awkwardly, he replies that he's fine, just didn't eat well for breakfast and is already starving. Being super shy, the girl says she has some snacks if he wants, and that the uni exam is coming up, so he should be on point. In the background, someone questions the girl with glasses, asking how she dares to talk to him and if she has a problem. It's another classmate of Chu. Quickly, she approaches the boy and asks if he read the love letter yesterday. Without thinking twice, the protagonist just punches the girl in the chest, telling her to back off. Seeing that strength from this dude, everyone is shocked. Irritated, the girl asks who he thinks he is, asserting that he's just a guy. At that, she gets ready to throw a punch at him. But someone jumps in, warning that they need to stop immediately. It's Wei Mao, Wei Cheng's brother. The tough girl is surprised to see Wei Mao and asks what he's doing here. He simply says she should scram before he gets tired of her. Running away, the tough girl claims she's leaving only because he's Wei Cheng's brother. Mao then tells Chu he has something to chat about and asks if he has a minute. Sometime later, both are on the school terrace. Apologizing, Mao says he's really sorry for yesterday and that he heard what he went through with his sister, and when he asked someone to pick him up, he lost track of where he was. Flashing back to yesterday, the protagonist is in front of the Wei family house. Mao then asks his sister to take the boy home. Already in the car, she offers him a drink. She says she doesn't have any beverages, but if he's thirsty, he should drink this. Then, the protagonist accepts the drink without a second thought. Feeling bad, Mao apologizes, saying if he had known his sister would pull this, he wouldn't have asked her to take him. But Chu tells him to chill, that he shouldn't stress about it or blame himself, then suggests they head back inside. After class ends, everyone starts to bounce. Looking to the side, the boy spots a car rolling up. It's Ye, Mao's sister, asking the protagonist to hop in the car. Suspicious, he questions why he would do that, wondering why she's following him. Smiling, the girl just warns him to think about his family. With no other choice, Chu decides to get in the car, while the girl says this is how she likes it and calls him handsome. In that moment, Chu warns her that she made a serious mistake by messing with his family. Using the reverse card, the girl comments on the possibility of not referring to a threat. However, the hero says that whether it's a threat or not, she shouldn't even have to bring it up. Suddenly, He smashes some crystal thing hanging in the car. Walking up to the girl, he insists she should get the consequences when she tries to threaten him. Nervous, Ye explains it's not a threat and that she can actually help the protagonist's sister and mom, mentioning she knows his company's been struggling lately. With a twisted grin, the boy then asks if she feels bad for him. She replies that she'll say it just once and explains she's coming after him, and they can kick things off as friends, and she'll handle the issues with his parents' business. Hearing this, Chu takes a step back. Totally chill, he says it's cool and they can start as friends. With a suspicious vibe, he comments that she came with that plan, so she better not mess with him again. Irritated, he tells Ye to hurry it up. A bit later, the girl calls the protagonist, saying she's got something to ask. With a curious look, she asks if he practices ancient martial arts, but the hero quickly shoots back that he doesn't. Then, she says she knows he's lying about his strength and that he's not what he claims to be, because she did a little digging on him and his fam. She wraps it up by saying even if she asked, he wouldn't spill, since it's gotta be a secret. After hearing this, the hero just goes silent. But when he glances to the side, he spots a truck coming. He barely has time to yell, "Watch out!" But sadly, the truck slams right into the car. With a massive impact, the car the protagonist is in goes flying. Then, it lands smack on the road, flipped over. Totally hurt, Yi asks if Chu is okay. In this case, the boy managed to shield her with his body. Surprised, she realizes he's injured. Deciding fast, Chu grabs the girl by the waist and breaks the door. He then says they both need to bail from the car. As they get out, while holding Ye in his arms, she says he's really hurt and they need to hit the hospital ASAP. But the protagonist questions what she's talking about and asks if she thinks this is done. At that moment, a bunch of people swarm towards them. It's a crew of women wielding baseball bats. Taking charge, the leader demands to know how they dared to hurt her man and vows to take them all out. Not wanting to chat, the women charge at her, one swinging a bat, another with glass bottles, and another with a machete. In that moment, Ye leaps in and uses her skills to defend herself. Meanwhile, the gray-haired woman approaches the boy with a machete in hand. Clenching her fists, she thinks she's been underestimated again. Then, quick as lightning, he lands a solid punch to the girl's ribs, disarming her. With the force of the hit, she's sent flying and crashes to the ground, totally defeated. At the same time, Ye is taking on 4 bullies at once. With a serious look, the protagonist snatches the machete from his opponent. Determined, he charges at the group surrounding Shang-Chi. In a flash, he reaches them and takes out 3 girls with one swing, sending them flying. Seeing this, 2 women are totally shocked. Wrapping up the attack, Yi strikes both with the palm of her hand. All the women were taken down without breaking a sweat. Happy with the outcome, Ye tells the protagonist that what he did was epic, but Mei replies that it was nothing and she should handle the rest. With that, her friend agrees, saying she'll get someone to deal with this and that if it weren't for the hero, she could be in serious trouble, then asks if he's really a prep student. Explaining the situation, Chu says they can't eat anymore today and should plan for another day soon, since it's late and his dad must be worried. At that exact moment, the girl's phone starts buzzing. She answers, asking what's up. In a few seconds, she starts looking confused, and the hero notices. Then, he starts to ask what actually happened. But he turns his face away, saying it's not important since it's not his business, and besides, other people's family drama isn't something a prep student like him should deal with. Suddenly, Wee rushes up to the hero, grabbing his arm and begging him not to leave. With a shaky voice and tears streaming down, she says her mom was seriously hurt because she was attacked and that she's at home right now. Suspicious about everything going down, Chu points out that she and her mom got attacked at the same time, so it's definitely not a coincidence. And she figures Jimmy's underworld is about to get a major shakeup. Worried, Wee starts freaking out about her mom possibly dying and her aunt swooping in to take over, which means she'd totally kick Y out of the family. Then she's all, "What am I even supposed to do now?" Trying to chill her out, he tells her to stop crying, that he's got her back, and explains that the fam is counting on her now, so she's got to be strong and hold it together. He wraps it up by saying he'll at least help her feel a bit better. Surprised, the girl wonders why all this is happening now and thinks it's wild that she might actually trust a guy's feelings. Without missing a beat, she walks up to the hero and gives him a hug. Fast forward to later that night at the Y family crib, the girl struts in confidently, saying she's finally made it. A bit anxious about everything, she asks how things are going. The woman replies that it's tough, since she can't get in because Miss May says no one's allowed except for the lady. Annoyed, the girl fires back, questioning how this woman thinks she can pull that off while the protagonist asks who this Y Mei even is. Shang-Chi explains she's just the aunt his mom mentioned, that she's been in the family forever and always plotting with other families, but since there's no solid proof, he couldn't do anything about it. Peeved at her aunt, she tells the protagonist to come with her, but then one of the security guards steps in, asking who the boy is and saying he can't pass. Wee snaps back, questioning how she dares to treat her guest like that and asks who she thinks she is. Jumping in, the protagonist says he's a doctor and came to check on Miss Y, thinking to himself that he's totally leveled up in the fairy world. Seeing this, the women start laughing, wondering if a guy could even be a doctor. But the hero says one of them has had an infection in her reproductive nervous system for ages and mentions the other has plemocines, probably from practicing martial arts and sticking to traditional Chinese medicine for a while. The blue-haired girl thinks that's why her friend takes so many meds, while the purple-haired one says she can't judge because she takes meds for her stomach issues. Both bow, saying he should totally be allowed in. Just then, Wee's aunt shows up. This is Wai Mei, who says she's glad she got here in time, or who knows what would have happened, and she's the one who's always by Wei Mei's side. Super annoyed, the girl who cares about her aunt and her mom's love insists she wants to see her right now. With a smirk, the woman says the young lady is pretty rude and asks if she doesn't have to respect the hierarchy and call her aunt. Pointing at the boy, she questions how he could bring this random guy and says no man is allowed in the Y family. But the young girl explains that this is the doctor she called and they should let both of them through now. Surprised, the old woman says she thought he was just some guy who got taken home a few days ago. She explains that if he wants to enter, a guy from the Y family needs to have some serious skills, or he's not getting through that door. At first, she tells her daughter to go check how skilled this dude really is, and she's down for it. The aunt thinks that if her daughter marries the guy from Wei Chen, she'll fight to protect him, breaking family rules, and nothing will save her. Meyer calls the boy handsome, saying if she wins, he has to promise something. Grinning, he asks what she wants. With a sly look, the girl replies that if she wins, he has to sleep with her for one night. But Shang-Chi jumps in, telling Meyer not to get carried away. At that moment, the hero takes her arm and says everything's cool and they should get started. Suddenly, something comes at the protagonist. He kicks his aunt, but she manages to block it while thinking she just said that to throw him off. Counterattacking, Chu lands a punch to the girl's stomach. She goes flying from the hit, while her mom calls out for her desperately. Fuming, the hero asks if she still wants to spend the night with him. In the background, the aunt says this is awful and that he's a beast, but the girl says that's enough and that she was the one who started it. No. Mockingly, Chu tells the woman she should take her daughter to the hospital since he can't guarantee she's not one of the inmates' kids. As they head out, the woman clutches her daughter, cursing them and calling him super cruel. Later, back at the girl's house, her mind is racing, trying to find her aunt. The woman hugs the girl, saying she finally made it home. Switching gears, Shang-Chi asks where her mom is, and the aunt replies she's okay, but her injury is serious, and they can only keep her under observation. Jumping in, the protagonist says if that's the case, they can't just sit around and he might be able to help. Confused, the blonde girl asks who this boy is. Brushing off the question, the hero says they should just trust him. Shang-Chi jumps in, saying he's his friend who got attacked too, but luckily, he was there to help. He adds that he's also a doctor. Then they step into the woman's room, and the girl rushes to her mom, hugging her and asking if she's okay. A bit shaken, the lady asks who this boy is. Chu responds that he's a doctor and Shang-Chi put her in his care, so he should show her his injuries. Laughing, the woman says she doesn't think he can do much and apologizes for a second, saying she needs to chat privately with her daughter. At that moment, the girl's aunt shows him the way out. Wu tells his mom she should let him check her out, saying he's incredible and if it weren't for him, she'd be hurt right now. Surprised, the woman realizes it's the first time her daughter's had a good opinion about a guy, so she wonders if he's really different from the rest. Then Chu says her assessment is spot on, that she was attacked and took a hit with some nasty energy on the left side of her back. He asks if she's feeling weak from all the energy spent fighting off that bad energy. In shock, the woman seems to realize he's onto something. Serious but comforting, she asks her to leave, wanting to talk privately with the boy. Hearing this, her daughter gets a bit nervous, not really getting what's going on. Now it's just the hero and the injured woman. Irritated, she asks if he was sent by the Lee family and what his intentions are with her daughter. The boy replies he's not with the Lee family. He explains that she should ask her own daughter about her feelings for him. He wraps up by saying if he hadn't saved her, she'd be a goner by now. After hearing this, the woman says she believes him. She then decides to show him the wound. As she removes her clothing, she warns him that if he does anything to her daughter, she'll cut off his head. With a bleeding nose, Chu thinks she shouldn't just strip like that out of nowhere and that he might be underage. But hey, he's still a guy. However, when he opens his eyes, he notices something strange. It's some kind of curse mark on the woman's back. Nervously, he comments that whoever attacked her did way more damage than he thought and that she can only hold on for now. But this will wreck her insides in 5 days. The governess of the Ye family then asks if he can do something about it. Placing his hands on her back, he says he'll give it a shot. At that moment, he uses some kind of healing magic. The curse mark seems to be getting sucked into his hand. While this happens, the woman feels some kind of pain. Focused, the hero channels a ton of his energy to heal her. He sighs, saying his current level can only do this for now, and he doesn't dare to pull everything out at once, not knowing what might happen. Impressed, the mother asks how he did that and says the important thing is she feels better now. Smiling, she asks if she can thank him somehow and if there's anything he wants. With no way out, Chu apologizes, saying his daughter is his friend and he thinks he should have done that. Embarrassed, the woman starts laughing, saying they're just friends and she totally forgot about that. Later, Shang-Chi tells the protagonist he's amazing and didn't think he could heal his mom like that. The one being hugged says he shouldn't leave tonight, since he has a reward to give. Pulling away from her, the boy explains that if his parents find out he crashed at a girl's place, they'll totally freak out. Saying goodbye, Wee agrees, saying he's a total catch and needs to watch out for temptation. At that moment, the hero is staring at his hand. Some kind of cursed energy is always chilling in the palm of it. Nervous, he thinks this thing is a curse he can't shake off with his current skills, and in the fairy world, there's an elixir that can fix it. Then he wonders if there's something similar in this world. The next day, the hero is strolling to school. Glancing to the side, he spots a bunch of lovesick dudes calling for Tang Xian, who, by the way, is that girl with the purple hair who just nailed a basket. Watching her, the protagonist realizes it's really her. She was his first crush back in prep school. Excited, the boy says she makes his heart do backflips, while another dude says Tang is a total genius. In that moment, the hero remembers that in this world, things are different and they don't know each other, so he won't embarrass himself in front of her. Suddenly, someone calls him, telling him to hang on. It's Tang, who asks if they've met before. Responding, the boy says they go to the same school, so probably yeah. Arguing, the girl says she wasn't talking about that and, nervous, Chu thinks it's just like the other world, since she's always investigating. Getting closer, she asks if he wants to shoot some hoops and says she'll teach him. Upon hearing this, he just grins, quickly snatching the ball from her hands. As they play, his index finger signals they should go for it. Irritated, the purple-haired girl says it's gotta be a competition and if he wins, he'll be her boyfriend. With a cheeky grin, Chu then asks what happens if he wins, and she replies that she'll do whatever he wants. Everyone starts buzzing that Tang and Xian are about to take on the smartest kid in school. Already on the court, Xian charges ahead. Quickly, she zooms past the protagonist. Then she shoots a three-pointer and sinks it, leaving him totally impressed. While she plays, everyone's saying Xian's gonna snag the best boyfriend in school and that she's the GOAT. Confident in her victory, Tang says she won't hold back and wants him as her boyfriend. With his hand on his neck, the protagonist just says she should give it another shot. However, the girl charges again with the basketball. Then she makes an epic leap to score, but she notices something off. Chu manages to block her shot and prevent her from scoring. Then the ball flies far away. Impressed, someone wonders how a dude can jump that high. Preparing to attack, the student claims it's his turn now. In that moment, he goes for his point. In an epic way, he jumps super high to dunk it. And he totally does. Disheartened, Tang admits she lost. Getting straight to the point, she asks what he wants from her. Getting closer, the protagonist touches her face, asking if she wants to hang out with him. The boys then get all shy, saying he's really cool and that he crushed it. At that moment, Xian starts to smile. Blushing, she says if he wants to be with her, he's gotta get stronger. Seeing this, the hero is shocked. He wonders when this girl got so confident. Sometime later, at the Wei family home, the hero is healing the woman again. Meanwhile, he thinks that when he helped his aunt heal her wounds, he also leveled up his pure aura and spiritual body by about 30%. After this work, the protagonist starts to leave. Right outside the house, he's chatting with Shang-Chi, who says he saved her and her mom and then asks what kind of reward he wants. At that moment, the hero thinks of some really wild fantasy. Embarrassed, Chu starts to leave, saying he needs to think it over first. On the way home, he thinks that in the next treatment for Aunt Wei, his spiritual body might fully awaken, making rapid progress in this world. At that moment, someone steps out of a purple car wearing a super flashy outfit. He approaches the protagonist, asking if he's the infamous Chu King, and questions whether it's true that he's been chasing Tang Xian. Disparagingly, the boy asks if he thinks he's handsome and questions if Li Wu Witch has ever liked him. Disheartened, the hero wonders if this dude is actually an idiot. Charging forward, Li asks if Li is deaf, since he's talking to him, and then gets ready to slap him. However, the hero quickly grabs his opponent's wrist, locking him down in no time. He then yells for his security, asking what they're doing and telling them to help him with this jerk. In that moment, the protagonist charges in, landing a kick on both of them. Then, he grabs Li's head and slams it into the ground. With a serious look, he says that next time he wants to throw hands, he better bring backup. Annoyed, the guy says his Li family won't let him off easy and that he shouldn't think he'll end up with Yan, since she's marrying him. Punching the dude in the face, the hero declares he's way too loud, just a total nuisance. After decking the purple-haired guy, he wipes his hands clean. As he strolls away, he wonders if Tang Xiao's decision means his family's in hot water, then questions how they could even think about marrying into the Li family. He decides to dig deeper for some intel. Then he remembers Shang-Chi wanted to hook him up, so he thinks about asking her for a favor. At that moment, he shoots her a message saying he needs a private investigator to look into something. In response, she sends him cash and says he should keep it. But the hero's confused, asking why she did that. The poor student thinks it's wild she just assumed he was broke, but realizes he does need the cash to get the scoop. He then calls up, asking if he's speaking with Hua Hua, and starts explaining why he reached out. Cutting him off, the girl asks if he called to get cozy, and insists she's not easy. A bit later, in a restaurant, the hero's chilling, waiting for someone. While sipping a drink, he remembers that when he called the info seller, she didn't ask for anything, and since she's a girl, he wonders if she's even legit. Suddenly, someone taps his shoulder. It's Shen Hua Hua, 23 years old, who greets him. Getting closer, she shyly asks what kind of info he's after. In shock, he thinks, is she really that girl? She's definitely a lowly. Smiling, Shen says it's really her, and she can just be called Huayer. Then she asks about his relationship with Yi Chuan. She claims the girl isn't his girlfriend and invites him to date her, leaving him totally stunned. Clearing his throat, the protagonist explains he wants to buy info and asks if she knows anything about Tang Xian's family. Surprised, the girl asks if it's the Tang Xian he faced in a basketball game, and if she's his girlfriend, to which he says no. At that moment, he wonders how she knows all this about him. Did she investigate him? Putting her hand on her face, Shen asks if she can chase after him. But he corrects her, saying it should be serious to look for someone else to buy info. Getting straight to it, the girl explains that the Tang family is part of a big business clan, with a company as their main HQ, and a bunch of major companies in the city belong to them. She says she recently heard there were some issues in the Tang family's industrial chain, so their financial situation isn't great, and the Li family proposed a marriage. She explains that marrying Li or Wei to Tang Xian, the head of the Tang family, will guarantee the Li family helps the Tang family out. Hearing this, the hero thinks he didn't expect Tang Xian to have so many secrets from her past life and wonders if she didn't want to stress him out. The little girl then asks if that's what he wanted to know. But the hero says he also wants to know something about alchemy. Then the investigator explains that the Tang family is a clan of alchemists who specialize in elixirs and medicine. At that moment, Chu is shocked, realizing there are actually alchemist families in this world. Curious, he asks the girl if she can get all the info. Shyly, she says yes, but it depends on the conditions he proposes, calling him Little Handsome. Indignant, he tells her to stop looking at him like that, and she just laughs. She explains there are two types of alchemy they know. The first is common alchemy, where alchemists use crazy internal power for elixirs, which is the Tang family's style. But the second type can tap into mysterious spiritual power, which he hasn't fully grasped yet. Hearing this, the protagonist is blown away and wonders if there are people in this world just like him. After all this, the girl drops the bomb that she sold the info for a whopping 100,000, and since he's cute, she'll throw in a 20% discount. Then Chu asks if she's got the scoop on secret transactions, like medicinal ingredients and all that jazz. Hua Hua says if he joins her for dinner, she'll spill the tea. A bit later, they're strolling past a food stall. A dude calls her name, asking if she's here to chow down today. As she plops down, she orders 20 pieces of pork belly and 4 cold beers. The hero's mind is blown, wondering if all girls in this world are into pork belly and if that's just how it is. While wandering around, he sees all the ladies munching on pork belly and chugging beers. Face-palming, he realizes he totally forgot this world flips everything upside down. Fast forward, the girl's looking tipsy, and now she's all up in the protagonist's space. With tears in her eyes, she spills that the guy she likes ghosted her because he thinks she's broke, even though she's been crushing on him for ages. She explains she's a housekeeper, but lives in a tiny place and spends her time gaming. She wonders if he thinks she's not good enough for someone, but Chu straight up says he doesn't. Hearing that, the girl pulls away, all flushed, and asks if he, by any chance, has a crush on her. A bit later, the boy's carrying her, warning her not to drink too much if she can't handle it. Being a knight, he takes her back to his place, while thinking that this blonde can't even handle her own house, since she's a housewife. Then the hero lays her down on the bed to catch some Z's, but she quickly scoots closer, grabbing onto him. With a shaky voice, she asks to stay with him, and Chu's like, sure, why not? Grinning, the girl says, this is awesome. Out of nowhere, she falls asleep and ends up sprawled on top of him. A bit later, he's tucked her in with a blanket while scrolling through his phone. He starts reading news about the Tangs, the family that's in hot water. He also finds info on the Shenzhen auction house, the biggest deal in Jinmen, run by a fam that knows ancient martial arts. Smirking, he thinks it's impossible to survive in any world without cash, and thank the gods he's got something that could be worth a ton. Days fly by, and the hero's chilling on the terrace, channeling energy. He gets that in the immortal world, there are these things called spiritual stones, which speed up cultivation and help with ancient martial arts. In this case, those stones can be found in veins, or by cultivating eternity that soaks up the aura of heaven and earth. Plus, in this world, spiritual stones are MIA, so it's worth lighting up the one he's got. He figures as long as he's making them, money won't be an issue. At the Ouija family house, late afternoon vibes, the girl's mom is isolating some kind of energy too. Grinning, she says her strength is back and tells the harpy to wait and see, she'll return the favor. Praying for the boy, she thanks him, saying if any problems pop up in the future, just holler, and they'll help out ASAP. As he leaves, Chu thinks he's wrapped up the detox process for Mrs. Ye, and her spiritual power is finally unleashed. Next up, the mission is full-on cultivation. At that moment, someone calls for Chu King, telling him to hang tight. It's Shang-Chi who rolls up to give him a kiss, and just like that, she manages to do it. Blushing, she thanks him for healing her mom's daughters and says this is a little gift from her. Suddenly, a security guard shows up, calling for the young lady, saying they need her for an urgent meeting. Saying goodbye to the protagonist, she apologizes, saying she has to bounce and can't stick around today, but one day she'll give him her full gift. Feeling a bit awkward, the hero thinks that getting kissed by a girl like that isn't too shabby. Back at his place, sometime later, he's sitting on the bed doing his cultivation. At that moment, he starts to unleash a massive amount of energy from his palm. When he entered the temporal corridor, the only thing he couldn't leave behind was this sword. It's been with him for 100 years and seems to have no limits. He even doubts it has anything to do with this world. At that moment, a massive burst of energy explodes inside him, and he declares he's done with his weak body. Weird symbols that look like ancient writing start popping up all over him. Grinning, the hero claims his spiritual body has finally come back to life. His sister walks in, saying this is a total scandal, and asking what he's up to. Realizing he's in deep trouble, the protagonist quickly hides the sword from her view. But he's totally naked, nervous, and it's obvious he's hiding something. Seeing this wild scene, the girl just shuts the door and bounces. She then says he can enjoy himself and apologizes for crashing his private party. Feeling bummed, the boy gets that this is just another awkward misunderstanding. After this crazy moment, he throws on some clothes and wears his sword like a necklace. He thinks he should hit up the auction house and see how much the spiritual stone is worth. A bit later, the protagonist strolls into the auction house, ready for business. The guy behind the counter asks what time it is and wonders why it's empty. He tells the boy it's closed and to come back tomorrow, but the hero just shows off the magic stone in his palm. The attendant says it's just a yellow rock, but then he realizes it's way more than that. Shocked, he jumps up from his chair. He steps closer, asking if he can take a look. Holding it, he feels the energy radiating from it, realizing it's a rare treasure that can help with cultivation. Introducing himself, he says he's Zai Yu, the heir of the Shenzhen auction house. The hero responds, saying his name is Chu Qing. Curious, the attendant asks how many of these stones he has and what they're called. The boy replies it's a spiritual stone and he should already know its effects, saying he has 5. Determined, the man offers 200,000 yen for each stone, totaling 1 million yen. Later, the hero leaves the store thinking it was a solid deal, way more than he expected, and if he plays it right, he could totally dominate the market, just waiting for the storm that'll shake up the martial arts auction scene. Suddenly, he gets a text from the girl saying they're hitting up a bar tonight and inviting him. Glancing to the side, the boy spots someone shady lurking around. It's a person in a long overcoat. With a knife in hand, they charge at him. To defend himself, he quickly activates the sword formation. With the magic up, he blocks the knife strike like a pro. Impressed, the attacker steps back, wondering what kind of power this is. Without wasting time, the hero strikes back with his energy. Going all out, he lands a killer blow with his magic sword. The guy goes down without breaking a sweat. At this moment, rain starts pouring down on him. Then, he presses his sword against the guy's shoulders, making him surrender. With a frustrated look, he asks who sent him. Terrified, the man spills that it was Li Uwei and claims he was hired to take him out. He says he thought he was just a weak student, but now he sees that was a total lie. Hearing this confession, the boy just smirks. Without a second thought, he finishes the guy off for good. As he walks away, he tells him to chill, since someone will come to collect his body later. As he leaves the scene, he gets annoyed, thinking he's going to take down the Li family. But then, he suddenly feels a sharp pain in his chest and wonders what's going on. Leaning against the wall, he realizes his body feels hot, and for the first time, he's struggling to control it. Plus, his vision is starting to fade. Chu sneaks along the wall, trying to move. Then, he wonders how he ended up in this mess. After a bit, he heads over to Hua Hua's house. From the way he looks, he seems totally wasted. Without thinking twice, he hugs her tight. Embarrassed, the girl asks what he's doing. Then, Chu just leans in and kisses her. As they kiss against the wall, some pink energy starts swirling around them. After that, he apologizes and wonders why he's feeling such a strong pull today. He questions if it's because he took someone out in this world before. After the kiss, the girl just hugs him back. Smiling, he says he needs to apologize and that he shouldn't hold back. As a result, they both end up getting cozy together. After that, he's lying on the sofa with the girl. While he thinks he doesn't want to dive too deep into this world, some stuff slips through his fingers, and now he's got this girl. Grinning, he tells himself he's got to conquer this world. No other option. The next day at school, it looks like the hero is catching Z's at his desk. Just then, Tang strolls into the classroom, asking about Chu Qing. Hearing her name, the protagonist just lifts his head up. The girl with pink hair gets closer, saying he should ditch the nap and grab lunch with her. Caught off guard, the hero wonders why the girls in this world are so bold. Suddenly, Tang senses something off. Getting closer to him, she asks why he smells like another girl. Feeling the heat, the boy squirms awkwardly in his seat. Switching gears, Tang asks where he wants to eat. Feeling super awkward, the protagonist stands up, saying he's got to bounce now. Relieved, he thinks. Thank goodness she'll keep digging, and if she knew he crashed at another girl's place, she'd be furious, which would be a whole mess. Then, in the hallway, his buddy wonders if he's dreaming, since Tang and Xian are inviting Chu Qing to lunch. As they stroll around the school, the boy's still a bit suspicious and asks Tang why she suddenly invited him. She just shrugs and says she wanted to grab a bite with him. Curious, she asks if she can hug him now. Being a bit cold, the hero thinks it's not that interesting since she didn't even blush. Quickly, he grabs her hand, making her totally blush. Seeing her reaction, he just laughs and pinches her cheek. But she pulls away, annoyed, asking how he dares to pinch her. The hero chuckles, clearly enjoying himself. Watching Tang, he thinks it's wild how he suddenly feels all mushy inside. Something that's never happened before, since she's been raised as the family heir since forever. But after seeing the boy on the basketball court, she's hit with these crazy feelings, even thinking of him as the most important person in her life. Telling herself she feels safe when she's with him. Bringing her hands to her face, the girl's embarrassed, wondering why she's thinking about all this weird stuff. Outside the school, they end up at some restaurant. The hero catches the waitress's eye, ordering 2 bowls of noodles, no cilantro, and throw in some chili and vinegar. Surprised, Tang wonders how he knows she likes that, asking if he's been spying on her. The protagonist, confused, asks what's up with her since her face is all red. At that moment, 2 girls walk up. Watching them, the boy starts to get suspicious. Then he spots that each one's hiding a knife under their shirts. Just then, he hears that his order is ready. Chu stands up to grab her food. At that moment, one of the girls gives a signal to her friend. Both stand up, knives in hand. The girl with braids goes for Tang from behind, but she gets smacked in the face with a bowl of noodles. The protagonist burns himself since the noodles are super hot. His friend, though, isn't backing down and charges at Tang. But the protagonist jumps in, taking a hit for his supposed girlfriend. Seeing this, Tang is shocked and totally surprised. Irritated, the hero starts radiating energy, tossing the girl aside, but the other girl is still in the game. Worried, Tang tells the protagonist to run since she's the target, but Chu insists she won't leave him behind, charging at the girl with braids. The girl counters with a kick, but the protagonist dodges. Irritated, he channels all his energy into his fist. Then he hits her, sending her flying, but the short-haired girl sneaks up behind him to hit him. Using all his strength, he slaps her on the back. Looking back with a fierce expression, the protagonist shows it was just a scratch. Then he hits her again, tossing her aside and ending the fight. Both girls end up totally defeated and hurt. Nervous, Tang asks if he comes from a family of ancient martial artists. Chu shakes his head, saying no. It's kinda hard to explain, but he's just an ordinary dude. Taking her hand, the boy says he'll spill the details later, but for now, they need to bounce since it's not safe here, and they gotta call his family to handle these 2. Outside the restaurant, Xian is carrying the protagonist. He's got what looks like a serious wound on him. Still stressing about the whole situation, she suggests taking him to the hospital. Grinning, Chu tells her not to sweat it, he can handle this little scratch himself. He's thinking those 2 were pretty average assassins, yet somehow they managed to get him. And it's like they were using some enchanted weapons, so he's gotta be more careful next time. At this, Tang tells Chu that, apparently, he's already done some digging into his family. Curious, she asks if Li or Wei got to him and wonders if he's in danger. Feeling confident, the boy says, nah, he can still deal with people like that, so there's nothing to stress about. Seeing all this strength and swagger from the hero, the girl feels a bit shy. Awkwardly, she asks why he saved her. Awkwardly, the hero replies that he has no clue, while thinking he can't spill that she was his girlfriend in a past life. Then Chu says it feels like he's known her forever, enough that he'd do anything for her, even take a bullet. Seeing this, the girl with purple hair is left totally speechless. Continuing, he explains that as long as she trusts him, he's got her back. And he wraps it up by saying he knows her family's been dealing with some serious issues lately. Tang explains that her family is famous for their medical teachings and their pharmaceutical factories, and it's been a month since their family formula got jacked, plus other families are teaming up to take her family out of the game. She says they're investigating and found out the Lee family is behind all this. With a serious look, the protagonist thinks, once again, it's the Lee family, who not only wants to wipe out the Tang family, but has also been keeping a close eye on them, so he asks if they're not scared of all this. Taking the girl by the shoulders, he asks if she'd believe him if he said he could help fix her family's problems. Impressed, she asks if he can really pull that off. Tang replies with a smile, saying it's simple, as long as they can whip up a new refining formula. Tang says that's easier said than done, since the family has tons of investigation sites in the city, and even then, it took 20 years to develop some. At this, the protagonist tells her not to worry, they'll chat about this later. He warns the girl that there's a lightning storm coming in 2 days, and after that, he's definitely not going to fly under the radar with his family, and that's when they'll dive deeper into this. Suddenly, he starts feeling that pain in his chest again. Worried, Tang steps closer, asking what's up. At that moment, the hero remembers he marked Yi with a reiki, so he wonders if it can just vanish like that. Saying goodbye, the hero tells her he's got something to take care of and won't be back at school, then asks her to tell Ling Dong he needs to apologize to the teacher. The phone rings Hua Hua, notifying that, apparently, Wei Chung is in some serious trouble, and asks if they can track her phone and send the location. On the computer, the girl replies that she'll try and send it right away. Calling Zai Yu, he explains that it's Chu King on the line. The attendant asks if he's got something good. Replying, the hero says no, and that he needs to ask for a favor, saying he needs a ride. Then the man asks where the other is, letting him know he'll come pick him up. To the clients, he apologizes, saying something urgent popped up and that the auction house will be closed for the day. Sometime later, he's in his Lamborghini. Inside the car, the protagonist notices that Wei Cheng's location has changed. Showing it to the driver, he says they need to head there. The attendant then says to just hold on and, using some kind of wild magic, floors the gas. At that moment, the boy uses some kind of special vision. With this, he can see through stuff and spots Wei Cheng unconscious in the back of a van. Chu then says that's the car they need to stop. At that moment, the attendant floors it and stops right in front of the van, causing it to slam on the brakes and crash into a wall. Then the protagonist hops out of the car to see what's going down. 2 armed dudes stumble out of the van, all banged up, while the hero strides up with his magic sword. Drawing their weapons, they say they need to be quick and shoot. However, the hero is quicker and manages to take them down with his magic sword without breaking a sweat. With just 1 strike, both hit the ground. Then, the protagonist heads over to the van to pop it open. But suddenly, some kind of spider sense kicks in. Out of nowhere, a mysterious figure shoots a beam right at him. By a hair's breadth, the hero dodges, but the van? Yeah, it's on fire now. At that moment, 2 dudes who look like time travelers stroll up. Surprised, the hero realizes this isn't your average Joe situation and forgets to call himself, in this world, a martial arts master. The guy says the kid's still young and has some skills, then invites him to join the Quanjin cult. The protagonist replies he might have heard of it, but asks why this cult produces failures like those 2. Annoyed, the guy snaps back, questioning the elder for using the word failure, saying his bro should just take the kid out since he insulted the master and them. Still holding his ground, the hero asks how people this superficial dare to come down from the mountain, saying they should go back and train for a few more years. This leaves the 2 brothers totally stunned. The one in the green kimono gets super mad and pulls out his weapon. Charging forward, he shouts, questioning how he dares to insult him and his brother, claiming he'll kill him. But the hero's got his magic sword ready, so he blocks the attack in a flash. The guy in the green kimono steps back, realizing his weapon just got wrecked. Even angrier, he asks how the kid dared to damage his weapon. Then, the hero goes on the offensive with his sword, saying he's about to destroy it. The man's staff cracks even more, and before long, it shatters. Using all his energy, he charges forward, yelling that the kid should go to hell. But with his magic sword, Chu completely takes out the guy, leaving him without one of his arms. Seeing this, his brother is in shock. Using some kind of brush, he questions how the kid dared to hurt his own brother. Then he unleashes a wave of energy strong enough to create an explosion. But the protagonist uses the old man's brother as a hostage. With a sadistic grin, he tosses one of his opponents aside, telling the old man that if he wants to level up, he needs to act right. He says he shouldn't come down from the mountain to kidnap a girl and asks if that's what the Taoists do around here. Deeply irritated, the guy in the blue kimono just says he's gonna die today. In that moment, he leaps over the hero, but Chu appears behind him and strikes with his sword. In shock, the man asks how that's even possible, while Kai says his master must be playing tricks on them. After this fight, several people are lying defeated on the ground, near the flames. At that moment, the hero realizes Wei is still alive. Slapping her face, he tells her to wake up. Then, the girl sits up, irritated, and just glares at him. She asks what he's doing there, saying those two guys were super strong and she had to bail. But the hero just walks over. Wrapping her in a hug, he tells her not to worry and that she shouldn't be scared because everything's cool. At that moment, she sees everyone is already down for the count. Stepping back, the protagonist asks if she knows who did all this. She says she has a hunch that it might be the Lee family, since both families have officially kicked off a war. Seeing this, the hero thinks it's no surprise the Lee family is making moves and bets they're teaming up with the Taoists on the mountain, making shady deals. She explains that these masters aren't just regular folks, but guys with crazy powers, like those who grabbed her. Then she says she's sure they don't come from a family of ancient martial arts, since when they attacked her, they didn't even break a sweat. Surprised, Shang-Chi says he can't underestimate these guys anymore. Then Chu agrees, saying that with her family's current situation, she shouldn't be too optimistic. Irritated, the girl says no, it's not just the Lee family. There are other small families and people who will stir up trouble too. Starting to get it, the hero asks if this has to do with Auction X and if that's why the ancient martial arts families have been so active lately. Nodding, the girl says it's possible the Lee family gets the scoop on the auction and the attacks on other families ahead of time, but since they didn't get the info, they can't prep. Kissing the hero, she calls him her lucky star. Blushing, she asks if he can roll with her, since she needs to head back and spill the tea to her fam about this news. Plus, her mom is always on the lookout to thank him. In response, the hero just gives her a gentle pat on the head. Grinning, he says he's down to go with her. Later that night, at the Wei family crib, the aunts and the girl's mom are chilling at a table. They're just staring at Shindashi and Chu. With a smile, the woman tells Chu to take a seat. But one of the aunts jumps in, saying he should hold up for a second. This kind of throws off the purple hair ceremony vibe. The aunt pipes up that having outsiders crash the family's secret meetings is a no-go. Pointing at Chu, she adds that, on top of that, he's a dude. Still smiling, he reassures her that he's not here to crash the council. Then he wraps it up by saying he didn't come for her secret meeting. At that moment, the girl thinks Chu messed up and that she wanted to use this chance to lock in her marriage with Shindashi, but now that's a no-go. Showing off that magical stone, the hero says he's here to make a deal. Then he tosses the stone to the aunt who was complaining. Checking out the stone, she says it looks legit, while her sister asks what it even is. The boy replies that it's a spiritual stone. He explains that now she can feel the flow of her internal strength through her body. With the stone in hand, the mom can feel all the energy, but she's strong enough and ends up discharging a ton of energy like a lightning bolt. All the women in the room start to freak out. But the woman smiles, asking how many of these stones he has and saying she wants to buy them all if the price is right. However, the protagonist explains that the spiritual stone isn't sold directly. One of the aunts then gets annoyed, saying Shindashi and his boy are just messing with them. Then Chu asks to finish his explanation and says this item will be evaluated in 2 days, and the price will be based on what it goes for at the auction, so if she's interested, she can buy it and snag a discount. He wraps up by saying he came here to offer them something else, like a protective shirt and elixirs that can boost combat effectiveness in no time. Hearing about the combat boost, both women are impressed, and one of them asks how much we're talking about. Chu responds that it's around 30%. Shang-Chi's mom then asks how long it'll take him to whip it up and what the price will be. Then the boy says he can make the omelet in a few days, and the ladies can set the prices. As for the elixir, he can whip it up in a week, and the price will be set when he delivers the first batch. Skeptical, one of the aunts asks why he's helping them out like this. The hero replies he's doing it because Yi Shang-Chi is his buddy. Seeing this, she feels a bit embarrassed, but also happy. Then, sometime later, both are outside the house. Smiling, Shang-Chi explains that he just wanted to chill with the kid at first, but then they became friends, and he even helped his fam. Grinning, the boy thinks that life in this world is totally worth it. He tells himself that after the auctions and with his fam's help, he'll be able to build his empire in Jimin. Later, he gets home calling for his dad and mom, but then he notices someone unexpected. It's Chu Qingxi, the aunt of Chu Qingxi. The boy greets her while wondering what's up, since he didn't know they had more relatives. Getting straight to the point, the woman says he's super handsome and that she's here to set them up for marriage. In shock, the protagonist asks what she's talking about, since he's only 17, still a minor. Ines replies that he's still in school and should talk about this after he finishes university. But the real question is, which guy wants to go to university when that's just cash down the drain? Irritated, the hero remembers this is the world where women step on men. Switching gears, the old lady asks the protagonist's mom where Chu Xiao is, and she says he's just chilling at home. Seeing this, the hero thinks his sister is probably snoozing right now. Puffing on a cigarette, the aunt says it's a bummer to see her family's education isn't on the same level as his mom's, since her kids are all straight A students. Standing up, the dad says he'll whip up some tea. Looking back, the hero notices his dad seems kinda down. Frustrated, he declares the woman has already yapped too much and that he wants to toss her in a bag. The old lady asks the mom what she saw in him, saying she should have married someone from the Liu family in Haixi. At that moment, the hero accidentally knocks a tube on the table, making the two ladies jump. With a fierce glare, he apologizes, claiming there was a bug on the table. In response, the aunt says this time she's got to give an answer, or she should know the consequences. As she leaves, she tells Chu to enjoy his last year in school and that he might not be single for long. Jokingly, the protagonist asks why he should care about her opinion. She replies that his family will set him up with a rich girl to boost their cash flow. With crossed arms, the boy apologizes, saying he's not that easy to buy. Knowing she's loaded, he asks how much she'd pay for a leg. Nervously, the old lady tells her sister to take the boy to the hospital, claiming he's sick. Irritated, he just storms off and locks himself in his room. Inside, he calls Jingxi, saying he's got something to spill. A bit later, the old lady is with two guys who are scattered around in some adult entertainment. A woman walks up, asking Ye if it's just to chop off a woman's leg. Jingxi replies that she should also take out a kidney. Sometime later, Chu Qing is levitating stones with his powers. He's holding one with a glowing aura around it. The young man thinks the vibe in Jinmen has been chill, but he's still got family drama. At least he has time to whip up magical artifacts to protect his loved ones. Suddenly, the stone morphs into a stiletto that zooms toward one of the green stones. That one shines bright, and the stiletto gets launched far away. The protagonist thinks the material he snagged from Jai Yu is pretty solid. He can stash an arsenal of protective swords and know when the bearer's in danger. Chu Qing's family is gathered around the dinner table. His dad says he needs to hit the books hard. After a brief silence, the brown-haired boy says he shouldn't stress about it, since he'll always have his parents' backs. The man points out that health is what really matters, no matter the cash flow. Chu Qing nods and reveals he did something cool. He places jade necklaces on the table for his dad and sister. His family members pick them up, looking confused. The protagonist's dad asks where he got this stuff and why it feels so good to touch. His son reveals he brought it from the temple, so it's gotta have some effects. At school, Chu Qing is in class. He realizes his mortal body can't handle the fatigue from making magical artifacts. The girl with blue hair sitting behind him warns him not to doze off in class, but she holds back when the teacher walks over. The advisor firmly taps her hand in Chu Qing's class. She asks the boy to solve the exercise on the board if he's feeling rested. The protagonist wasn't paying attention and has no clue how to solve the problem, but he remembers it's the same as what Xiaoran taught him before. With confidence, he starts writing on the board. Chu Qing drops the chalk and tells his teacher he's done. The teacher is shocked and wonders how he pulled that off so fast, being a sleepyhead. The woman says he can't sleep in class, even if he already knows the material. The brown-haired young man thinks he's been a total slacker his whole life and that the teacher has never treated him this well. She suggests he should be the class representative. Chu Qing tries to question, but his advisor then asks threateningly if he has any more doubts. He's lying down in class. He uses his powers and thinks that the amulet he promised his family needs to be made as soon as possible. He creates a small sword in his hand and remembers that magical amulets can block attacks. The price should be 30,000 yen or more. A big dude leans on the protagonist's shoulder and invites him to grab a bite. Suddenly, the tiny amulet that Chu Qing was working on goes kaboom. His buddy asks how he can mess with fire in class. Chu Qing's little weapon ends up as a charred sword. He hands it over and says this will keep him safe. But shh, no one can know about this. The guy who poked his shoulder earlier is all in, saying Chu Qing is his bestie and wants to hook him up with something. He lifts a small soda bottle like it's a trophy. The protagonist gets mad because the soda is barely half full, but his friend has something to spill. In a few days, the sports festival is happening, and he asks if Chu Qing wants to join since he wrecked the #1 in basketball. The brown-haired dude says he's out. His buddy insists the video of the game is everywhere, and they'll make him play. Finally, he asks if he doesn't want to make some epic memories in his last sports year. Chu Qing thinks he's got a point, since he skipped out last time. He decides he's going to the festival. The chubby guy is pumped because now they can go grab food. The brown-haired dude asks if that's what he was betting on, but his friend totally denies it. A girl walks into the classroom. She's got peach-colored hair. Other girls are whispering if she's Lin Yuan, the school superstar who plays piano and sings. She strolls over to Chu Qing, saying it's been ages since they last hung out. Lin Yuan mentions he became the school legend after taking down Tang Ziyan. The protagonist shrugs it off as pure luck. His friend says their elementary school crew is having a reunion and asks who's organizing it. He wonders if it's Juogu-kun. The girl raises an eyebrow, asking how he guessed. Chuching says he just knows Juogu loves the spotlight. Lin Yuan asks if his friend is still coming. Otherwise, it'll be a total snooze fest. The young man asks when it's happening. She replies that she'll call him tomorrow night. Then she pinches one of his cheeks. Finally, Lin Yuan says every time she sees Chuching, he looks better. No wonder Tang Ziyan is so into him. Lin Yuan bounces out of the classroom. Chuching wonders when she started teasing him. His blue-haired buddy asks why he's so tight with the peach-haired girl. The protagonist says they were classmates back in the day. The other dude reveals Lin Yuan is his ultimate crush and he needs her autograph. The brown-haired guy asks why he didn't ask when she was around. He replies he'd never have the guts to do that. But if he could chill with her for a day, he'd be on cloud 9. Chuching leaves the classroom, saying he's got stuff to do. A girl with purple hair is in his classroom, buried in a book. The protagonist walks over and asks if she's doing homework. She looks up, blushing, and admires the character's face. She admits her assignment is super tough. The boy says he can help since he just solved the same thing in class. Chuching explains while others watch, totally focused. The purple-haired girl gets it thanks to his method. Suddenly, a ruckus breaks out around them, and the protagonist thinks this isn't the time. He stands up, grabs the girl's hand, saying he needs to tell her something. They step out to the school's open court. Chuching hands her something, saying she should use this to stay safe. The young woman looks at the necklace he just gave her and realizes the pendant is rare. She hands it back, saying she can't accept something so fancy. The brown-haired guy insists this will keep her safe and asks her to trust him. His friend gets all emotional and thanks him. The protagonist is in another class now. He thinks about making 10 amulets before heading home. With his hand under the table, he keeps crafting magical stuff. Class wraps up and the boy packs his things. He thinks he still needs to catch up with He Chengshi Shu tonight to see what he can offer his family. A hand lands on Chuching's shoulder. It's his blue-haired buddy, asking if they're going out tonight. The protagonist asks where. His friend reveals it's a super cool and exciting spot. Chuching steps out of the room saying this time, he can't. Then Chengshi pulls him in for a hug. She spills the tea that, finally, he's here. Right then, the dark-haired girl catches a whiff of another girl's perfume and asks if the boy's trying to pull a move. Chuching, quick on his feet, tells her to just chill about it. Then, he whips out the necklace he crafted for her, saying she doesn't owe him a dime. Chengshi checks out the bling. Suddenly, a white object zooms through the air toward him. The young girl jumps, raising her amulet, which conjures a purple shield like a total boss. Chuching steps closer and says the necklace will kick in automatically if she's ever in a jam. The girl lights up. Then, she playfully shoves him onto the bed, saying this is seriously awesome. Chengshi warns him not to bail just because he gave her a gift, declaring that if he finds out he's with someone else, he'll throw hands. The boy gently cups her face and lays her back on the bed. He drops the news that he has to bounce but will be back in a few days. In Hua Hua's apartment, Chuching strolls in and notices the doors wide open. His sister's crashed on the couch. As he gets closer, he sees she's crying, probably stuck in a nightmare. The pink-haired girl stirs awake. She hugs her brother, saying she dreamed about their mom again and that she didn't want either her or their dad. Chuching's sister asks if he's going to be a jerk and ditch her too. The boy thinks maybe one day he'll find his way back to another world. Then, he gives her a reassuring stroke and promises he won't bail. She warns him it's better if he doesn't even think about it. Otherwise, she'll totally bite him. The girl leaps onto her brother. Shen Hua Hua is still snoozing. Chuching thinks he should head home since it's the weekend and his dad can't find out he didn't crash there. When he reaches for his phone, he accidentally clicks the mouse. He wonders what's popping up on his computer. He realizes it's info about some ancient martial arts family. Then the protagonist glances at his sister and thinks she helped him score a ton of intel. Finally, he leaves the protective amulet by her side and kisses her goodbye. The young man is cruising down the street. He picks up a call from his dad. The old man asks where he's at, threatening to send his mom to scoop him up. Chuching says he's chilling near the mall. A car pulls up for him to hop in. The protagonist jokes that his mom showed up fast and she says she was just around the corner. She catches a whiff of him smelling like a girl. The brown-haired dude says he was at a party with his crew, and there were tons of people. He thinks about how women are super sensitive to this stuff. His mom pulls out a cigarette box and warns him not to be wandering around with a girl. Chu says he knows and asks if she hasn't kicked the habit yet. She claims it's to mask his scent and save herself from his dad's wrath. The protagonist covers his nose and thanks her for the fragrance. A notification pops up on his phone. Chuching finds out a magical amulet sold to the Ye family for 1.2 million. He thinks he could totally cash in with his fairy world knowledge and needs to find something even pricier. Maybe the big score is just around the corner. At home, the boy's dad tells him to keep an eye out if his mom starts smoking again. The protagonist says he's got his dad's back. Through text, Chu Ching asks Jiayu when he's free to drop something off. The dude replies that he's free right now. In a restaurant, the two friends link up. Jiayu checks out the amulet and says it's epic, worth at least 10 million. The brown-haired guy says he's already in the loop, so no need to explain. His buddy notices it seems Chu Ching's done some digging. Then, he raises a cup for a toast. The white-haired dude slams his mug on the table and says it's the first time someone wants to be his friend. The protagonist asks why he's saying that. Jiayu shares that he grew up with his dad until his teenage years, then found out his mom came from a big family, and after that, he got shipped off to a fancy school. But the kids treated him weird, and a girl he just met asked if he was a legit kid. The man asks his buddy if he knows what it's like to always feel out of place and never vibe with the rich kids. Although he's spent the last few years training, dealing with family drama or whatever, he still feels like a total outsider. Chu Ching says he's good, but he gets the struggle, no cap. The boy's mom came from a big fam that totally disapproved of her dating his dad, so they dipped. Lately, the boy's fam has been pressuring his parents, saying they'll marry Chu Ching off to a hefty girl who tips the scales at over 90 kilos. Jiayu bursts out laughing and can't help it, but honestly, the main dude saw that coming from a mile away. The white-haired guy suggests they all get lit together. They raise their glasses, and Jiayu wishes the young man luck with the hefty girl. Chu Ching stumbles up the stairs to his place, totally buzzed. A girl with a cute bob opens her apartment door. She jumps when the young man's arms brush against her shoulders. He quickly covers her mouth and asks if she wants to wake up their parents. The girl shoots back that he's not marrying anyone while he's this wasted. A moment later, she starts feeling woozy and ends up collapsing into Chu Ching's arms. Now she's lying on a bed. At this point, the boy thinks he can't handle it anymore. He suddenly lunges forward. The brown-haired dude thinks everything feels smooth and chill. The girl with the bob tells Xiaofeng not to be awkward. Chu Ching, sitting next to her, wonders who she's talking about. She leans in for a kiss. The protagonist jumps up, shocked, thinking he can't do this with his sister. Walking into a clothing store, an employee notices how good-looking he is. Chu Ching asks her to pack up all the clothes and send them to his place. He thinks he's just scored some fresh fits for the class reunion and needs a ride so he doesn't bug Zhao Yu for a lift. Someone calls out to him from behind. A dude decked out in bling asks if he doesn't recognize him, calling him a classmate. Chu Ching realizes it's Zhou Bokun. His classmate asks if he really likes being a hermit and if he's even going to the reunion. The boy says he is, since Lin Wan personally invited him. Then Zhou Bokun says he'll be waiting. He storms off, fuming, just like Chu Ching himself. The hero rolls up to school. Some kids are saying he's gross. These are just flashbacks from his school days. Another girl mocks him, saying he looks like a total noob, but deep down, he must be a freak. After starting high school, Chu Ching figured out he was solo because of Zhou Bokun spreading lies. He thinks tonight's his chance to really show them what's up. A vendor calls out to the brown-haired guy to check out the store's discounted rides. A girl shows him a car. He's not vibing with the tiny red sports car. He asks if there's a more manly option for him to snag. Finally, Chu Ching picks a car, and the saleswoman says she'll get the invoice ready. The store staff whispers that the boy buying the car is a total heartthrob and probably has some rich person backing him, noticing he's underage. Chu Ching thinks it's whack that they assume he didn't earn that cash himself. On party night, he rolls up in his car and finds the restaurant where he was supposed to meet Zhao Yu. He steps inside and sees a ton of commotion, takes a deep breath and tries to chill. The girl with purple hair is there. The brown-haired dude wonders where Lin Wan is. The girl says she has no clue, but it looks like Zhou Bokun's bet about showing up in uniform is about to flop, and he'll have to treat everyone to dinner for a week. The protagonist thinks he shouldn't overthink it since he saw Zhou going to buy clothes and still made that bet. A group of guys is chatting with Zhou Bokun. He looks super mad. The purple-haired girl spills that maybe Zhou didn't think Chu Ching could actually buy anything. The protagonist turns and reminds his classmate that he'll have to pay for everyone's meals for a week, including his own. In that moment, the blinged-out guy says he'll cover next week's food, and everyone cheers, but Zhou Bokun is still fuming. The girl says Zhou played it smart, narrowing down the options, but that bet's gonna cost him. The brown-haired guy thinks it was his classmate who started the bet and totally flopped. The students are all sipping drinks. Zhou suddenly drops the bomb that he's putting together a men's basketball team for the Olympics, and asks if Chu Ching is down to join. The young dude shoots back that he's not interested. The girl with purple hair chimes in, asking if by saying Chu Ching plays a bit, he's saying she can't play at all. He gets all nervous and has no comeback. Tang Jian jumps in, saying they should squash their beef and just focus on winning. Zhou Bokun says he's cool with it, but he's not sure about Chu Ching. The girl wants to know what he thinks. The young man, holding a piece of meat, says he thinks everything's perfect and offers her the food he's got. Tang's eyes light up and she leans in to grab a bite. The boy with chains looks annoyed. Tang asks if her buddy isn't joining the basketball squad. The protagonist says he'll join, but only if she gives him a kiss. She teases him with a French kiss offer. The boy tells her to close her eyes, and then he goes in for the kiss. The girl with purple hair promises a special reward if he wins the competition. The crew declares that if Tang Jian doesn't invite them, they're not accepting her new boyfriend. She's all chill about it, and Chu Qing claims he's the one who's going to win over Tang Jian. Then he invites everyone to hit up a fancy dessert spot nearby. Everyone's hyped about the offer. The girl with purple hair asks if he's sure he can cover everyone. He questions if she thinks he can't pay. The protagonist ruffles her hair and says he can't let her down. Tang Jian says he's a dude and might want more fame than a girl. Zhou Bukun thinks he should be the star of the show. All the students roll out to the restaurant for dessert. Tang Jian says the food is bomb. Zhou Bukun spots Liu An coming in and asks if she wrapped up her work. The girl says she had something super important to do and couldn't make it. Not really paying him any mind, she heads straight for Chu Qing. The protagonist says it's pretty rude of her to keep him hanging. Liu An says the company wanted her to record a video, so she had no choice. The young man asks if she's ready for her big debut. One of the students mentions that the pianist is MIA today, so Zhou Bukun can play a bit for them. The boy brags that he passed level 6 of piano, and it'd be even more fun if Liu An could show off some dance moves too. The girl says she's down. She then extends her hand to Chu Qing, inviting him to dance. The students can see how stoked the protagonist is, and the girls are ready to help, even if they can't dance to save their lives. Zhou Bukun is playing with a bit of an attitude. Meanwhile, Liu An is dancing her heart out. The brown-haired dude comments that the kid plays piano pretty well. Tang Jian asks if he doesn't think the dance is better. The boy asks if she's feeling jealous. His girlfriend says the girl is dancing just for him, so he better not let her down. The pianist is watching from a distance, fuming that the protagonist is trading a dance in his honor for chatting with another girl. He slams the keys and stands up. Zhou Bukun asks if Chu Qing knows what respect is. The protagonist says whether he listens or not is on him, so he shouldn't have rushed things. The pianist tells the boy to focus on Liu An, not him. Chu Qing stands up. He finishes off the rest of his drink. The girl with peach-colored hair smiles and bows. Zhou Bukun says Chu Qing is broke and doesn't know the rules for watching a show. The protagonist notices the music is trash and thinks he can whistle a better tune. He then says he'd chop off his hands if he played like that. The pianist tells his buddy to kneel and apologize. Chu Qing says the pianist can say goodbye to his hands. Zhou Bukun is taken aback. Then, the protagonist starts whistling and totally wows everyone. Some girls recognize the song. The boy with chains feels like he's in a field of flowers. At that moment, the hero remembers this is the true song of the gods, and he got it in his past life. Some classmates say it's the first time they've heard such a beautiful tune, and that Zhou Bukun is totally lost. He's caught off guard by Chu Qing's intense stare. He's shaking, staring at the shadow creeping up from his enemy. A hand pops up in front of him. It's Lin Wan, stepping in to protect her classmate. The protagonist wonders if she really wants him to forgive her. The girl looks super uncomfortable. Tang Jian tells her boyfriend to chill out and stop scaring the pianist, or he's gonna have some serious issues. The brown-haired dude thinks back to earlier, when that heavenly music got him all riled up, and he forgot he's not in paradise. He grips the dessert knife tight. Then he points it at Zhou Bukun, who's all confused, and asks what's going on. In the shadows, a flurry of hits goes down. Turns out, those hits were just to snip the pianist's hair. He freaks out when he feels his head and finds a knife dropping right next to him. Chu Qing says he's not the same kid who got bullied and hopes his classmate remembers that. Zhou Bukun wonders if he's being a bit too harsh. The protagonist replies that even if he begged, his classmate wouldn't let it slide, and he only kneels to his parents. Right after that, Chu Qing tells him to back off, saying he never wants to see him again. The guy with all the chains bails. After a moment of tension, the protagonist suggests they celebrate the exit of an annoying dude. The classmates keep the party going. Tang Jian says it's getting harder to figure out her boyfriend. Chu Qing tells his girl that soon she'll know who he really is. He drives his car back home. He's stressing about how to walk in smelling like beer. His sister's calling him. The boy says he can't come home tonight and asks her to whip up an excuse for their parents. The girl says she's not lying for him, but then she changes her mind when he promises to pay her. The young man heads to his girlfriend's apartment, thinking Hua Hua will be awake. Surprisingly, someone's already opened the door. As he walks in, Chu Qing sees a dude holding his girl's wrists. The guy looks old. Then, he asks Hua Hua who this new guy is. The protagonist says she's his girlfriend and asks who he is. The man asks again about the boy's identity, and then drops the bomb that he's the girl's dad, demanding $3 million for her debt. Hua Hua defends herself, saying it was her dad who made the bet for that $3 million. Her father says it doesn't matter, and since she's his daughter, she's gotta pay up. She snaps back, asking how he thinks she could come up with that cash. She angrily throws her credit card at his face and tells him to get lost. The man says that's not enough and he'll be asking her boyfriend for the rest. Hua says he's broke, just a student. The dad thinks she's with the student for his money. She fires back that he wouldn't even notice her if he was rich. The old man grabs her arm, saying he'll find her a guy with cash, and as long as he's of age, everything else is cool. He suggests she could sell her body, claiming that being a girl means just one night with rich dudes without tying the knot. Hua starts crying. She runs into her boyfriend's arms. Chu Ching says he can cover the debt, but only if her dad never talks to her again. Curious, the man asks if he's for real. The protagonist tells Hua to let him handle this. The girl's dad insists that 3 million isn't enough and he needs 5 million. The girl curses her father. The brown-haired dude says he'll hand over the cash as soon as he signs a paper saying he'll never speak to her again. But the dad won't accept that, promising he won't come after her. Chu Ching says whatever he writes is his problem, but once this night is over and he can't sell his daughter anymore, he won't be giving him the money. Then, the man starts sweating and asks where the papers are. Finally, he hands over the contract. After that, the girl's dad asks where the money is. The protagonist says there's no rush and that he'll show him something. He holds up a mug and with a flick of his magic, turns it into a weapon. Then the man's jaw drops when he realizes the boy knows how to use magic. At that moment, the object flies out of Chu Ching's hands and smacks Hua's dad right in the face. The brown-haired dude warns that if that guy bothers Hua again, he'll unleash some serious torture techniques, taking him out without her even noticing. The guy's hurt and just bounces. The pink-haired girl wraps her arms around her boyfriend. She's crying and says she'll pay the 5 million, but her man says that's just pocket change for him. She beams and finally they share a kiss. The day kicks off and they totally crashed at each other's place. Hua wakes up the protagonist. He notices the sun is blazing and asks how she managed to wake up so early. She says he better get up fast because she's got something to teach him. Hua and Chu Ching are munching breakfast at the table. The house looks spotless, like a Pinterest dream. The boy asks why she's being all lovey-dovey with him. She replies it's because she doesn't want to lose him. He tells her she doesn't need to do that. She just has to be herself. Hua is washing the dishes. Chu Ching realizes his back is killing him. Suddenly, his phone starts buzzing. He gets a message from Zai Hu saying the problem's all sorted. The brown-haired dude thanks his friend for the 5 million loan. Then he's hit with another message. It's Tang Jian asking him to swing by the basketball club after class. Chu Ching rolls into school. On the court, a bunch of kids are playing dodgeball. Some kids are getting hit left and right. The girl with purple hair is chilling in the bleachers. The protagonist strolls over, asking if they're playing basketball or just getting smacked by balls and wonders how they'll even play like this. His girlfriend shoots back that they can't expect them to have the skills of a girl. Then she remembers he mentioned a new magic formula. Chu Ching raises a paper, showing he's got the formula that helps mages level up their magic. Tang Xian snatches the paper and asks if he trusts her, wondering if he's scared she'll pull a fast one on him. He asks if she'd believe him if he said money doesn't matter. He just wants to help. His friend totally trusts him. The purple-haired girl confesses she's really in love with him now. But the protagonist asks if she didn't like him before. She says before, she was just curious. And before she finishes, she pulls Chu Ching in for a kiss. The protagonist spots a basketball flying toward them. Using his reflexes, he raises his hand just in time. Joba-kun is not vibing with what he sees. The brown-haired dude spins the basketball on his finger and says, because of him, she's got a fan club that won't stand for them being together. Tang Xian gets mad at the players and tells them to run 50 laps around the court. It's night, and the hero is chilling at home when his mom walks into his room. The boy asks why she's barging in. She plops down on his bed and asks him to be real. Does he like any girl? Ching replies that he does, but asks why she's asking this out of the blue. She thinks it must be some girl from the family and says she's cool with him growing up with the one he loves. He met his second aunt a few days ago. He also knows there are 7 or 8 family members, and the boy's grandma married 5 dudes and had a ton of kids. Their family is huge and has a bunch of strict rules. His mom also mentions that Chu Ching's second aunt had an accident, which is messing up the plans. The young man asks if that really happened. The lady says she's stuck right now and can't protect her son. The boy wonders if they can't just be chill. She says if he's thinking about marrying Ye Qianqi, it won't help, since her family isn't that big and they seem to have offended someone recently. Finally, she asks if Chu Ching knows about the National University. The boy says he does, since it's the top school in the country, but also one of the most powerful forces. The protagonist's mom says if he wants to dodge the marriage, he should get into the National University. With that, the Chu family wouldn't dare mess with the university's opportunities. Later, the protagonist is meditating. He knows the National University is a big deal in this world, as it's produced tons of resources for the empire. For sure there's a lot of info, and he's itching to uncover the secrets of this world. Sure, here's the improved text while keeping the same line breaks and overall structure. Also, the vibe level of this world is totally on par with the fairy realm. Using his magic, the boy whips up another amulet shaped like a tiny sword. There are 5 levels of eternal cultivation: building foundation, Danjing, Yongyang, infant transformation, and Mahayana, the ultimate level. The young dude had been grinding for 300 years. After breezing through Mahayana and thinking he'd hit the eternal jackpot, he lands in this wild new world. Using his power, Chu Qing is leveling up the small sword amulet into a massive golden sword. He can feel the weapon shifting, even if it's not visible to the naked eye. Looks like he's stepped into the Yu Hong Dao Yun path. If that rust doesn't vanish, the fallout will be insane. Why does the boy have to take this path when if the foundation crumbles, he's toast? The protagonist has to find the pot ASAP and stash it before anyone catches on. Out of nowhere, Yu calls, and the boy picks up. The dude's fuming since the auction's about to kick off and his buddy's MIA. The young man with brown hair is stuck wondering how this even happened. He remembers getting texts from his friend at school, but he read them half asleep and just turned off his phone to catch some Z's. Guess he zonked out and totally spaced. Chu Qing rolls up to the auction. He's on the hunt for some spiritual materials to craft his sheath. They step into the Exon auction house. Yu's already chatting it up with a woman in a red dress. As soon as she bounces, the guy looks all flustered. The protagonist catches on that the Zai family wants him to meet some high-profile ladies. Some girls at the venue are throwing shade at Chu Qing's raggedy look. One of them purposely bumps into him. A couple strolling by tells him this isn't a spot for broke folks like him and tells him to check himself. Chu Qing fires back that this is the Zai family's turf, and if she's acting like that, she's the one losing face. The woman in fancy clothes threatens him, saying just because he's a guy doesn't mean she won't throw hands. The young man with brown hair steps in to block the hit she was about to throw. He says he wasn't looking for a fight, but she started it. Then, he twists her arm, and it snaps. Her husband calls for security. A dude walks up saying Chu Qing's a solid bro, and embarrassing him means embarrassing himself too. It's Zai Yu who steps in front of the boy, saying they're banned from the auction house from now on. He then calls security, and the couple starts apologizing. A friend of the protagonist notices he didn't exactly get a warm welcome. Chu Qing asks if he's got something to spill. Zai wonders if the boy's mom is part of the Chu Imperial fam, and the dude confirms. Then, the white-haired guy brings up Chu Qing's aunt, who lost her leg and kidney. But someone from the Chu family in the capital tried to buy that info, and he cuts them off. Qing asks if his friend knows who did the dirty deed, but he says Miss Ye Chengshi had no clue about the family head who stepped in. The protagonist was seriously worried back then, not knowing what was up with the imperial family. 2 women stroll into the hall, greeting Chu Qing. He spots his aunt and Ye Chengshi. The boy's aunt says she heard he's gearing up for the university exam, so he better hit the books. The protagonist notices his aunt's concern and reassures her that everything's gonna be all right. Ye Chengshi tells her mom to head on, as she's got something to chat about with the young man with brown hair. Before long, the girl leaps into her crush's arms. Zai Yu mentions the auction's about to start, so they need to head in. The protagonist tells Zai Yu not to take his aunt's words too seriously. The white-haired dude says the boss cares about him, which is why she's got him as her fave. Chu Qing asks if there's any special metal in this joint. His buddy says first he and Miss Ye will hit the room, then he'll drop a ton of info. In the room, Ye asks if the spiritual stone her boyfriend was hunting for really showed up at the auction. He tells her there are 5 of them. The young man offers his girlfriend a bottle of milk tea. The girl wonders why he's drinking wine. The boy remembers that girls dig loud drinks in this world. Ye Chengxi says he can chill on the drinking if he's not feeling it. At that moment, she grabs the protagonist's hand and pulls him in close. She suggests they both drink as much as they want, no limits. Chu Qing realizes she's definitely into him. Ye Chengxi spills the tea that she bought some spicy outfits just like he asked. Chu Qing's face turns red at that thought. Suddenly, she plops him down on the sofa. The boy knows this beauty is a total distraction. He decides to go for it and kisses her. Zai Yu walks in and catches them in a pretty awkward moment. The dude quickly shuts the door and apologizes for crashing their vibe. Chengxi nudges them to keep going. Chu pushes her away, saying the auction is about to kick off. She asks why he's all shy now when he wasn't before. The brown-haired guy thinks if Zai Yu hadn't shown up, he would have left her hanging. Then he calls out the white-haired dude who was eavesdropping by the door. The guy strolls in saying sorry for interrupting, but he's got some hot intel. They both check out the tablet with the new information. Qing asks if all these items are up for grabs at the auction. Nothing seems like it could take down his sword. His buddy mentions there's a meteor piece on the list. What shows up is just a fist-sized chunk, but it weighs hundreds of kilos, enough to make some epic weapons. He adds it's still warm, because he almost burned his hand identifying it. Chu Qing thinks this could be the ultimate energy-saving, pollution-free pot. Ye Chengshi Shi bursts out laughing. Zayu says Mr. Chu's got high standards, so he won't bother anymore. He grabs his tablet and heads out. The white-haired guy shows the news to the girl. She spots an item called Chen Gui, an ancient wine that's been aging for ages. If someone drinks it, they get a serious power boost. Chu Qing asks if she wants it, but she says everyone will be after it and she can't keep it safe. Suddenly, the protagonist has a light bulb moment. He points to the piece and realizes there's Dao En. It's not about the wine, it's about the pot. Wasn't this the material of the god of gold he was hunting for? But if there's a snag, he can still buy it. Then he says he's not into the wine, just the bronze pot. The guy wonders if this is a treasure. He thought he got Chu Qing, but turns out he was totally off. But Yu is left speechless. Then the hero drops that his friend's observation skills are rough, but the bronze pot is the real deal, even if he couldn't spot it. The dude thinks his skills won't impress Mr. Chu, but the boy says he's heading home. His buddy wants to take him to a chill spot, but the protagonist says if he goes out tonight, he'll be up early for homework. Zayu reminds him he's still a student and tells him to go home and be a good kid. He responds with a playful gesture. Later that night, Chu Qing is driving home in his car. It's late and he hopes his parents don't catch on. He's hit his goal at the auction. If he can snag that bronze piece, his power issues will be sorted. It's time to team up or form an alliance with the Sheishen auction house. After all, in this life, Chu Qing isn't just a lone sword warrior. He's got a family, he's got friends, and people he cares about. For all of that, he's ready to fight with everything he's got. The young man keeps driving and doesn't notice the construction sign ahead. He stops and wonders why the road's so empty. There was no construction when he rolled up to the auction. Suddenly, Chu Qing gets hit with a wave of danger. He parks his car where it won't be spotted and tries to blend in with the bushes. He watches from a distance as what looks like a secret meeting unfolds. An old woman stands in front of several other women. A lady in a violet cloak steps up to them. The brown-haired guy wonders who's in that purple robe. Her killing aura is off the charts, way stronger than the 6 others combined. The old lady calls her Officer Jiang Wu, saying she dropped a ton of cash on the item. And if she wants to take them out after this, it could be a serious government violation. Jiang Wu's envoy Yan Shanxi dropped this bomb before. But the police can't really handle the ancient martial arts fams. So, the government sent in a military surveillance squad and a messenger named Jiang Wu. The girl in the purple robe is all, "This belongs to the Empire, not some random family or person." Then she throws shade, asking if the martial arts fam is really going to wreck the Empire's foundations, snatch what's not theirs, and go rogue. She's curious if the chief in the purple robe is calling the shots, asking if she's got a judgment order. Chu Qing thinks this is just a sneak peek of the military squad's moves. The young woman confidently says she does. Then, out of nowhere, she lunges at the old lady. The old lady gets hit in the gut and is sent flying into the other girls. The woman in the purple robe is surrounded by bodies, looking like a total boss. Chu Qing thinks she's super strong for taking out 6 people in one go. She pops open her car trunk and pulls out the bronze pot the protagonist was hunting for. The boy realizes this artifact was her target all along. Jiang Wu senses someone lurking and tells everyone to bounce, as soon as possible. Chu Qing steps out from the bushes and asks if the girl thinks he's that type too. She smirks and says she totally does. Before he can say more, she punches him in the face, declaring he needs to kick the bucket. But the protagonist blocks her punch with his hand. With his other hand, he brandishes his golden sword, saying it's not cool to get offended so easily. Jiang Wu catches her off guard, but she leaps away just in time to dodge his attack. The woman in the purple robe jumps and kicks hard at his face. He doesn't flinch, which totally surprises her. The brown-haired dude raises an arm and sends the warrior flying. He's all, "Your strength isn't enough to take me down." The woman asks if he's asking for a death wish. She whips off her cloak and grabs a weapon with one hand. The protagonist realizes she's packing some serious power. Jiang Wu tells him to get ready to bite the dust and then fires at his face. The bullet's about to smash into his shield when Chu Qing notices his golden protection is toast, leading to a massive explosion. The girl in the purple robe is grinning at the chaos. She strides over to the car where the magical artifact is and grabs it. Suddenly, a golden sword comes at her from behind. Before she knows it, her back gets pierced. Jiang Wu is shocked, asking how he survived that. With another swing of the golden sword, the girl drops to the ground. Chu Qing realizes that bullet hit him so hard he needs to seal his wound, like, now. He plops down and tries to use his magic to heal up. The pain is no joke. Chu Qing knows that wound could take him out any second. The weapon that got him isn't anything special. His eyes land on the bullet. The boy figures out that's the real issue. That bullet was specially made to mess with martial arts warriors. It's night, and Hua Hua is gaming at home. Suddenly, the door swings open, and Chu Qing stumbles in, dragging himself. The girl freaks out, seeing him bleeding. She asks what went down and if she should call an ambulance. The protagonist reassures her he's not dying, but he needs her to clean up the mess with a knife. Hua Hua is worried about her boyfriend and asks how he got so wrecked. Holding the knife, the pink-haired girl wonders what she should do. Then she remembers she can call Sister Ye. Now the two are watching the boy. Ye Chengxi looks furious. She reaches for the knife. Then she plunges it into her boyfriend's neck. He screams in agony while Hua Hua watches from a distance. Blood is everywhere, splattered on the gear around him. Chu Qing has his neck all bandaged up. The pink-haired girl asks if he's alright and Ye Chengxi says he's not gonna die. The brown-haired dude thinks this is about to get messy for him. The girl with dark hair tells her friend to grab a glass of water for Chu Qing. Now, they're all alone. Ye Chengxi shoots a wild look at her boyfriend, wondering if he's been hanging out with Hua Hua. He's all confused about why it's a problem for him to chill with other girls. She fires back, asking if he'd be cool with her going out with another dude now. He's all chill, saying she can totally find another guy if she wants. Ye Chengxi is fuming at this whole vibe. The brown-haired dude says if she can't vibe with his thoughts, they might as well call it quits. She gives him this annoyed look, like seriously? Then, Chu Qing's girlfriend yanks his ear saying he should have come to her instead of running off to Hua Hua. Qing's all, people are watching and some stuff is just not for strangers. He's curious about what went down last night. The boy spills that he took out a messenger named Yang Wu. The pink-haired girl walks in and both girls are shook by this news. The protagonist claims he was just defending himself, no biggie. The dark-haired girl holds up a bullet, saying it's wild he survived after getting hit by a wang. That's a total nightmare for martial arts warriors. It's a super tough bullet to make, no joke. The Ministry of Military Supervision is behind this madness. Ye Chengxi asks what kind of messenger Yang Wu he met last night. He says she was rocking a purple robe. His girlfriend chimes in that the delegation has 5 levels: red, yellow, green, blue, and purple. The red and purple ones are the weakest, just saying. Usually the supervisor in a green robe is the one who gets Wang Chuan. The girl wonders what Chu Qing snagged from them and how he even found the purple-robed supervisor with Wang. The boy's curious about the martial arts warrior's levels there. He's confused how he doesn't know this, being a soldier and all. The brown-haired dude reveals that when he was a kid, he met an old man who just kept whining. Then he bought a book and started studying. Chengxi tells him to chill with the random backstories. She explains that martial arts are split into 5 domains, from smallest to biggest. Hujing, Wujing, Nature, Transformation, Sacred Realm Dam. Each domain has up to 9 levels. The girl drops that she's at the 9th layer of Hujing. She's about to break through, but for now, she's all good. Suddenly, Chu Qing's alarm goes off. He jumps up saying he's got to bounce for school or he'll be late. The dark-haired girl stops him, saying he shouldn't push it since he's got a serious injury and needs to chill for a few days. The protagonist starts peeling off the tapes and bandages from his wounds. He shows he's already looking way better. The young woman wonders if he's even human with that crazy fast recovery. She's curious how he keeps the evil Wang Chuan aura from spreading through his wound. The boy offers to teach her. His girlfriend can't believe she's about to learn the technique that all soldiers would kill for. The brown-haired dude says he'll teach her another day, but right now, he's got to hit school. Ye Chengxi tells him to hold up. She storms out, leaving Hua Hua looking scared. The pink-haired girl calls out to Sister Ye, who barely glances back and slams the door. Hua Hua thinks she's really mad at her. Class is starting. Chu Qin is knocked out in class. His blue-haired friend tries to wake him up again. The boy gets jolted awake by his teacher's scolding. She tells both of them to step out and for Chu Qin to call his parents to come to school this afternoon. The boy's like, does the teacher really need to call his parents? She's over it, saying she doesn't care if he studies or not. But he's messing up everyone else's learning. Xiaoran jumps in, saying it's her fault too, and his friend admits he messed up as well. The young man promises he won't disturb the other students next time. The class cracks up at the whole scene. The teacher's done with Chu Qin but tells Xiaoran to call her parents so things don't get worse. She wants to show them how their daughter is wasting her studies because of a boy. The protagonist says the teacher's got it twisted. If she's gonna do that to the girl, she should do it to him too. The teacher offers a deal. If they don't ace the test with 10 points, they'll have to call their parents and confess their relationship in front of the whole school. She wants to show everyone the dangers of young love. Chu Qin can't wrap his head around why this girl is into him. A girl strolls over to Tang Ziang. She's got some juicy gossip that's buzzing around the school. The girl with purple hair looks super annoyed. In the hallway, a bunch of girls are fuming at Xiaoran, who's just trying to figure out what's up. They want to know who she thinks she is. Tang Ziang's buddy asks if Xiaoran really wants to swoop in on the president's guy. She blushes hard and totally freezes up. The girl with purple hair asks where Chu Qin is. She finds him snoozing in class. Then she starts to worry he might be crying. Tang Ziang taps her shoulder and asks if he's all right. Chu Chin wakes up, all confused, and asks if something's wrong. The girl thought he was crying and wants to grab lunch to spill some tea about the latest drama. Xiaoran pops up, saying she's sorry, it's all her fault. The main dude knows he's a pain for dozing off in class, but he's gotta ask if the girl really digs him. From her flustered vibe, he's pretty sure he's onto something. He pulls the girl with blue hair in for a hug and says they can be besties forever. Chu Chin thinks that in his third life, he should totally do something epic. Tang Xiang looks annoyed at the whole scene. The squad is having lunch with Tao Yunyao. She tells Chu Chin to apologize to Xiang for daring to hug another girl in front of her. The brown-haired dude fires back that first, Tang Xiang's fans should say sorry. Then he asks if she didn't catch what he said to Xiaoran. Tao Yunyao calls him out for being rebellious, saying he's not spoiled enough by his girlfriend, but he's all, nah, he's the one who's gonna spoil her. The girl with orange hair is trying not to crack up. Tang Xiang says she's waiting for Chu Chin to spoil her and asks what his plan is. The main dude tells her to just wait and see. The girl, still giggling, warns the brown-haired guy to steer clear of other girls and handle his business outside. Then, she yells that she's serious. Chu Chin grabs her shirt and pulls her in close. He asks if, when she talks about staying away from other girls, he should also avoid Tao Yunyao. The girl turns bright red. Tang Xiang says her friend can bounce. Then, she'll leave too. Once they're alone, the purple-haired girl asks if her boyfriend is mad that she doesn't spoil him. The main dude says he's not like the others and doesn't expect that from her. Chu Chin really vibes with his girlfriend, so she can trust him. The girl with purple hair lights up at this. Switching gears, she brings up the recipe he gave her. Turns out, she couldn't help but practice martial arts. But it's actually poison. The main dude is sure the recipe was meant to help boost magic skills. Tang Xiang says that reception poisons are super rare and labs don't even know about them. But that recipe is a big deal and worth a lot. So they're gonna keep it for the price Chu Chin wants. The dude thinks it's wild that a recipe meant to boost cultivation turns into poison for the practitioner, and he needs to study it carefully. The girl with purple hair says this is really special for the Tang family. If he lowballs her, it'll be a total embarrassment and a waste of time. The main dude wants to know what she thinks it's worth. She throws out a guess of 200 million. Chu Chin thinks if he sells all the recipes, he could totally cash in. He seals the deal. He figures he needs to snag some medicinal ingredients only the Tang family sells. Tang Xiang asks if he doesn't want to cultivate and make potions. Her boyfriend wonders if he can't do that. The girl says it doesn't matter, because in the whole empire, there are no guys making potions. Maybe he can. The main dude thinks the world's got a serious grudge against men. Tang Xiang wipes a smudge off her boyfriend's cheek. Then, she licks her finger. Chu Chin asks what she's doing. The girl wants to know if he's feeling embarrassed now. She suggests he shouldn't practice ancient martial arts. If he wants to defend himself, she's got his back. And notices that he doesn't seem too great. This might be from his treatment. Tang Xiang hands him a healing potion. The girl says if he keeps practicing martial arts, they're done, because she doesn't want her future husband to be infertile. The main dude wonders if ancient martial arts can mess with that kind of relationship. It's night, and Chu Chin walks into the house. After a day, her dad yanks the collar of her shirt, then starts wailing on his son, claiming he still knows how to get home. The dude stops when he hears someone shout his name. It's Ye Qianxi stepping up to take the heat for this. For being totally wasted last night, the boy thinks this excuse might actually be worse. And he's curious why Ye Qianxi is chilling in his house. The dad of the young brown-haired kid thinks his son's been led astray. Chu Chin asks Ye Qianxi what she's doing there. The young girl offers a remedy to help him out. Then her face goes all annoyed, and she says he doesn't need that anymore. She mentions her fam is tight with the Tang family and asks how he scored that medication. Chu Chin asks who told her he doesn't need the potion anymore. Right after that, he declares he'll teach her a way to handle the bullet Wang Chuan, and Ye Qianxi asks if he's really down for that. The protagonist says they'll take it slow. They join hands, and a blue glow surrounds them. Then the power kicks in, and the girl starts feeling the pressure. The young brown-haired boy asks if she's good. His girlfriend says it was super painful. Chu Chin offers her the potion to chug down fast. He's questioning what the heck really went down. The meridian usually snaps when he channels the aura. Sadly, there's a fix for that. Last time he healed Aunt Ye, the aura also flowed into her. But she didn't have this issue. Now he's got to get the aura into her body. Chu Chin uses his magic to try and create a healing vibe. When he asks his girlfriend if it still hurts, she says it feels chill now. Maybe that's why Tang Xiang said the recipe was toxic. The protagonist thinks he needs to dig deeper into martial arts to figure out the wild differences between guys and girls in this world. He asks him to do it again. The boy tells her to throw on her clothes. Just then, his dad walks in and asks if they're studying in bed. Chu Chin tries to explain, and the girl says she was lying down because she was wiped out. Then she declares she's heading home. The young brown-haired boy insists he did nothing with Ye Qianxi and is crashing now. He knows these weird situations need some serious research, but right now, the most important thing is the sheath of his sword. In the scene from the battle the other day, a woman in a green cloak sees that only a tiny bit of blood is left at the spot. She says seeing a killer isn't the same as spotting an ancient martial arts warrior. It's more like seeing a Taoist. Then the girl with her, in a blue cloak, asks what she's on about. The girl in the green cloak wants them to check the hospital in Jinmen, then the drug flow in the black market, and to send someone to scope out the auction house. Her buddy asks if they're heading to Jinmen now. The other replies that yeah, since the fiancé her fam set up for her is in Jinmen. He's the son of Miss Chu, and they're going to visit him. Chu Chin suddenly sneezes in his room. He wonders who's chatting about him. Chu Chin is in his room with the bronze pot, trying to level up his sword. He opens his eyes and realizes that finally, with this sheath, his sword won't get wrecked and will soon be back to its prime. He raises his hand, and suddenly, a stone mask pops up. The protagonist thinks that if he's got a fight in the future, he should rock this mask. And what's left is the ancient wine. The only thing that makes it special is that it made tons of fighters rush to their doom to get it. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. It's Ye Chengxi asking him to swing by her place for dinner. In Yuji's private kitchen, the three are having dinner together. The protagonist's aunt spills that she's not sure if her medicine, which boosts combat strength in no time, has been perfected. But lately families have been hunting for it, and she'd love some if it's around. The young man says he doesn't have any on him, but he can whip some up by next week. Ms. Ye asks how much it'll cost. Chu Ching doesn't need cash. He just wants to borrow the fam's old martial arts training method. The vibe gets a bit awkward, and he wonders if he said something off. The woman drops a bomb, saying this heritage is way more important than anyone in the fam, and there's no way she's handing it over to outsiders. The protagonist is totally caught off guard by this news. His aunt is not down for him to practice these martial arts. She wants him to ditch the warrior life, claiming it's pointless. The young dude tries to figure out how to explain why guys struggle with these martial arts. Yishenxi asks if the technique could be taught if Chuqing was family. His mom shoots back that it's only happening after marriage. The protagonist spills that he can't get hitched, but Mrs. Ye warns him that if he wants to keep things chill, he better not bring it up again. Her daughter looks all bummed out. The boy knows he needs to dig deeper into this. He thinks about hitting up Jiayu and also tackling that 2 million debt. His white-haired buddy asks when he became a millionaire and if he's secretly trading spiritual stones. The boy keeps his cash source on the down low but knows he needs a training method. Jiayu asks if he really thinks an ancient martial arts method is just lying around and wonders if he's ever even practiced. Chu Ching wants to switch up his training, but something feels off. Jiayu cracks up at his friend's comment. The brown-haired dude asks what's wrong with a guy practicing martial arts. His white-haired pal says that's just not a dude thing to do, but he doesn't seem to care about that. Chuching wonders if martial arts are actually dangerous for all guys. Jiayu says that's not something a guy can just jump into. To really train, he'd need to be castrated or totally exploited. Now the protagonist remembers that Tang Ziyang and Aunt Ye were onto something. His buddy says he can help by calling a hospital to set up his castration. The boy says he just needs some self-defense moves and asks where to snag them. Jiayu spills that he doesn't have that and doubts his friend can buy it. Families with those techniques would rather burn their house down than sell them. Chuching thinks he didn't realize women had such a tight grip on this world. Maybe they're scared guys would learn the moves and wreck everything. The boy's phone buzzes. It's Hua Hua letting him know some orders from the Tang fam have rolled in. Now the young man can whip up the medicines. It's night, and the brown-haired dude is working his magic in his room. He conjures a container that spits out golden balls. He realizes making medicines is a total puzzle, but with this mask, it's a breeze. Finally, he nails the Kuang Yi Dan, pills that boost the user's power by 30%. Hua Hua shyly cracks open the bedroom door. Chuqing tells her to come in since he's all done. She asks what he was up to. The protagonist says he was cooking up some medicines. The pink-haired girl wonders if this is a Tang Ziyang family exclusive. Chuqing asks if she thinks he's pulling her leg. Hua Hua wants to know if he's heading home after finishing up. Her boyfriend pulls her in for a hug, and then plants a kiss on her. The boy asks if she wants him to bounce or stick around. His girlfriend wishes for him to stay close. Hua Hua is the girl who vibes the most with the normal women in Chuqing's world, but she's not shy at all when she talks. The boy wraps her in his arms and lays her down on the bed. The girl says they can't do this since she's in a risky week and doesn't want to get pregnant. It would be a total mess for the brown-haired dude if he got her pregnant, and rumors would fly. The protagonist asks if she's saying he's not responsible enough. Ching realizes he didn't sleep well last night. A boy calls him up saying his sister wants him to come over. The brown-haired dude asks what she wants with him. Yimao says she has no clue, but wonders if he's about to become her brother-in-law. And what's the deal with Tang Ziyang in all this? The brown-haired dude asks if that's what's bugging his sister or if she's into Tang Ziyang. His friend spills that the only girl he likes is Tao Yunyao and begs him to keep it on the low. The protagonist thinks his friend has a thing for airheads. He offers to help his buddy win over Tao Yunyao. But he should really stop talking so awkwardly. Suddenly, the boy remembers that the guys in this world are basically Barbies and love to gossip. His buddy asks if he's going to be with the girl. Chuching promises she's totally down to date, but he thinks he might have to force or threaten her. The protagonist spots Ye Chengxi chillin' against his car. He asks why she decided to swing by today. The girl offers him tea with milk. His brother chimes in, asking why she's so savage and where his drink is. She tells him there's no drink for him and orders her boyfriend to chug it before it goes bad. Chuching wonders if Ye Chengxi got hurt because of yesterday. The girl waited forever in line to grab this and insists he drinks it all. The protagonist goes along with it, but soon he starts seeing things all fuzzy. He realizes she's sedated him again. The cup slips from his hand, and he thinks about how dumb he is. He faints, and Ye Chengxi tosses him in the car. Yamao is shocked by her sister's moves. She warns him he can't join the game anymore and needs to Uber home. Then, she speeds off in her ride. Later that night, Qing wakes up in a bed with Ye Chengxi on top of him. The boy freaks out and asks what she did. The girl tells him to chill and not move too much. Then, she leans in and kisses him. The boy goes into full panic mode. Chuching asks his girlfriend if she hasn't had any practice with all her contacts. At that, the girl gets up. She reveals she just manages them. Nothing more. Besides, boyfriends aren't just for that. Finally, she hands him a book. The book is the Yi family's registration diary. She says he needs to be her man so she can show him the book. The protagonist assures her he already sees her as his wife and is ready to do anything for her. Ye Chengxi says he doesn't need to do anything for her, but she's ready to do everything for her future husband. Then, she pulls him in close. In their kiss, it feels like magic. The girl with dark hair asks what her boyfriend put in her mouth. Chuching says it's a good thing, and she'll find out soon. Ye Chengxi starts glowing with a blue aura. The boy is blown away by the ancient martial arts created by a woman. In this world, women are born with changes in their meridians, and once they soak up enough spiritual power, they prep to use ancient martial arts to turn that power into strength. Men, on the flip side, don't have the right ways to absorb power. If they try martial arts, they'll explode and bite the dust. This power shift has made women the queens of the world, but the hero hopes to flip the script so men can practice too. Suddenly, his girl opens her eyes and realizes she's broken through the Wuding barrier. Now she's in the Wuding realm of the third layer. Chuching gave her the ancient wine, super beneficial for women. The girl wants to know where he scored it, but the young man says it's a secret of chastity. Because of this, Ye Chengxi wants to see if she's still stronger than him. The girl lunges to punch her boyfriend, but her hand gets stopped and the explosion is held back. Chuching holds his girl tight. He whispers that he can't handle this. The dark-haired girl asks for more wine so they can keep the vibe going. The boy asks if that wasn't enough. She shoves him onto the bed. The girl says she's still Ye Chengxi and will prove she's in control. Chuching wonders how he can survive with his energy drained. Good thing he took that medicinal drink to keep himself distracted. The boy runs into Tao. She says Tang wants to see him. The protagonist gets a bad vibe. Then he heads to the extracurricular sports office. The girl with purple hair asks where he was last night and what he was up to. In response, the young man says he was with Shen Shi at a hotel. Tang Ziang slams her hand on the table and stands up. The girl accuses him of being shameless for spilling that so easily. The protagonist questions if he'll be her only companion if they stick together. The girl realizes her family won't allow that. Chuching says everyone should have equal rights. His girlfriend asks how rights between men and women can be equal. The boy reveals he'll still show the world what human really means. Tang Xiang says he needs to hit the books hard for that. The protagonist suggests that if she doesn't get him, they can each go their own way. The girl asks if he'll just bounce without saying anything to her. Sure, here's the improved text while keeping the same line breaks and structure. Then she wonders if all guys are really this way. Chuching tells her to just spill it already. She confesses that she's into him and thinks he should be her future hubby. But what went down has her fuming, and she wishes she could take out Ye Shin-shi. The dude's not about to let that slide. Tang Ziang spills that this is why she gave him another shot. She throws out the idea of an arm wrestling match. If he loses, Ye Shin-shi will be hands-free. Literally. Chuching asks if that's all she's got. The girl with the purple hair doesn't think he can show he's better than her. The main dude tells them to get it started. Tang Ziang declares he'll never back down. Chuching says that's not needed. A golden glow surrounds them both. Tang Ziang is going all out. Her boyfriend notices she's got more strength than Ye Shenxi. He's stressing about what happens if they lose. Chuching believes she can't lose and clutches one of her magic pills. Then, she squeezes it tight, boosting her power. With a flick, the boy slams Tang Ziang's hand down. The girl's mind is blown, wondering how this even happened. Her boyfriend reminds her to stick to her word. The girl with the purple hair says she'll let it slide this time, but no second chances. Finally, she yells that if they don't tie the knot, she won't let him chill. It's already night. Chu Ching walks into his crib. There's a girl in a green dress chilling in the living room. The boy's mom didn't expect him back tonight. He explains he had to bounce because his teacher was busy. The girl in the green dress introduces herself as Gong Yue, saying she's his fiancé. The boy tells her to stop with the nonsense. She pulls out a copy of the marriage contract. Then, the protagonist opens it and checks the document. He has no clue who signed it, but he doesn't recognize it, so he wishes her a happy life. Gong Yue asks if he remembers her, but her uncles definitely will. Chu Ching's mom says the one who signed was the head of the family, plus his mom and grandma. Looks like Chu Allen has mad influence over his parents, and Gong Yue is bold to threaten them right in front of him. Ching rips the contract in half. The girl says he was brave for that, but Grandma Chu's not going to be happy, though she promises not to spill. At that moment, the young man with brown hair thinks this lady needs to chill. He declares he's eating out tonight. His fiancée will tag along so they can vibe. The girl says Chu Ching seems to care little about his parents, giving him a solid 2 out of 10. The protagonist reveals that, score aside, he's wanted to smack her for ages, but the girl jumps back. Gong Yue asks him to throw her a compliment since they just met, and he can't want to hit her for that long. The young man with brown hair says her logic is off and that he'll start swinging once he knows her deal. Gong Yue claims to be a lady of the Chu family and that he should be grateful she wants to marry him. Then, the boy thanks her, but says he doesn't care, and aims a kick at her. He's shocked when the girl kicks back. After being pushed back, Chu Ching realizes this girl is even stronger than Tang Xiang. The girl in the green dress says he's too cute to be mad. The protagonist thinks if this fight keeps going, he's toast. He uses his power with one hand and summons his epic golden sword. The young woman is surprised and then reaches into her dress. The protagonist charges with a yellow sword, trying to take her down, and the tension between them is off the charts. Gong, trying to chill things out, asks Chu Ching to calm down, raising her arms like, "Peace." The young man is lost in thoughts, analyzing how this girl's strength is next level. She then cuts into his thoughts, saying he's got what it takes to be her husband. In a snarky tone, he remembers rejecting her proposal, and the blonde says she wasn't on board with that either. In a dramatic tone, she shares that when she was a kid, she was totally unpopular with guys and was shocked that her promised fiancé turned out to be a strong and handsome dude. Ching ends up feeling the heat. Gong says there would be some serious consequences for the main dude if he brushed off the marriage. Curious, the young man wonders if he could actually get into the National University. The blonde bursts out laughing, saying there's no way that's happening. Fuming, he steps back, plotting some epic revenge once he hits the university. Gong trails behind, chatting away like it's a gossip fest. Chu Ching picks up her pace, trying to escape that super awkward vibe. Hoping to connect, she spills some tea about the guys at the university, leaving him totally red-faced. The protagonist feels the tension rise when, out of nowhere, that girl gives his butt a squeeze. He fires back with a punch, fueled by rage. The girl tells him to chill out. As if teasing him, she winks, puts his hand between her breasts, and says she'll stop the game. 2 days later, a sports event is buzzing at the stadium with a wild crowd. Chu Ching can't shake off that awkward moment and thinks of a way to get into the university. A boy next to her asks if he's not on the basketball team, claiming someone set him up for expulsion. Xiao shows up at Zhou's request to remind him about the match today and not to forget. The protagonist, buried in his book, says he's got no time for that nonsense. In a bossy move, the informant snatches the book from his hands, insisting he has to go anyway. The book goes flying far from their chat. Xiao Yu, clearly annoyed, turns and starts to walk away. Fueled by anger, the protagonist spins around, ready to settle the score, grabbing a nearby book. He throws another book, this time nailing Xiao right on the head. The boy, furious, yells and curses at Chu Ching, asking if he's trying to get himself killed. With a fierce look, the protagonist, fists clenched, faces off with the boy, ready to throw down. With total confidence, Chu Ching tells Xiao Ao to go grab his book, no questions asked. The informant, in a mocking tone, questions her order. Fuming, he leaps at Chu Ching, saying he's getting way too cocky. But the protagonist just sidesteps, letting the boy crash to the ground. Chu Ching's friend, watching the chaos, holds Xiao Yu back, stopping the fight. Then, this time, he gets hit and bitten while whining about the pain. Chu Ching, losing patience, grabs both by the arm and pulls them away. She held them with an air of superiority, questioning what they'd do if they really wanted to fight. She twisted Xiao's arm with all her strength, making him squirm in pain. The boy shot back with curses, clearly uncomfortable. But those curses just fired up the protagonist even more, demanding an apology. He wanted apologies for the curses, the whole mess, and for how they treated his friend and Yamao. At that moment, the vice president showed up, taking in the whole scene. She said, in a serious tone, that this wasn't a place for fighting and they needed to head to the admin office with her. Xiao shouted, begging for help. He was sure she'd back him up and that he wasn't at fault here. But Chu Qing laid out the whole story, even showing the bite mark from his friend. The vice president asked why he reacted so aggressively. The protagonist defended himself, saying he didn't want Xiao to keep being violent and suggested the student council get involved. The woman then suggested hearing Xiao's side, asking him what went down while he was crying. He was totally overwhelmed, and that's when he started to vomit. There was so much vomit that the vice president stepped back, and everyone freaked out. That's when he realized all eyes were on him. His only move was to bolt, crying from embarrassment. Meanwhile, Chu Qing told her friend they should hit the infirmary, worried about Tang Ziyang. The protagonist couldn't figure out why Ye Mao was so scared, saying he'd rather avoid trouble. At that moment, the boy realized his friend was actually pretty brave, despite everything. The vice president rushed to the student council, reporting the drama that just went down. She was telling Tang Ziyang what her boyfriend Chu Qing had just pulled. She started trying to change Tang's mind about the protagonist, and Tang shot back, saying he wouldn't be fooled by Chu Qing. The vice president, in a slightly nosy tone, suggested Tang should break up with his boyfriend. But she was not having any of that intrusion, and with a totally serious face, made it crystal clear. The colleague, throwing up some apologetic gestures, begged her to forget everything she had said. Ziyang jumped in, saying he already knew what was up and that Chu Qing was the one who stirred the pot first. The vice president shot back, claiming Chu Qing was super clever and Tang was totally missing it. After all that chaos, when they hit the infirmary, some of Chu Qing's classmates rolled in, ready to stir things up. Zhuo defended their informant buddy, questioning why Chu Qing had thrown a punch. The protagonist, with a smirk, tossed a key on the ground, interrupting the whole vibe. He poked at the boy, trying to spark another fight. Not backing down, he warned that Tang wanted Chu Qing in the game. The protagonist said he wasn't going, but he owned up to what went down and told the boys to bounce. Zhuo kept pushing, asking if he was really going to bail on the game. Chu Qing then decided he'd join the match as promised. In the hall, the cheerleaders kicked off their routine. Meanwhile, the student council presidents from rival schools were just chilling, waiting for the game to kick off. They glared at each other. Zero sympathy or friendly vibes. Chu Qing and his buddy were making their way over. Ye was shocked to see the council presidents from both schools hanging out. One of the players waved at them, trying to get their attention. He invited them over. His name was Zhang. The boy held up 2 chairs for them to chill in while they waited. Chu Qing, being sharp, noticed something was off with one of the chairs. He played it cool and sat in the other one. The boy thought about getting revenge but was caught off guard when he realized he hadn't fallen for the trap. Bummed out, he backed off and joined his other friends. The protagonist then figured out they were still plotting revenge. Zhang came over with a letter, asking how he was feeling on the bench. He noticed she was still mad at him. As he grabbed the letter to reply, Chu Qing was about to tell her not to sit next to him. But it was too late. She plopped down in the gluey chair. He couldn't help but chuckle while she was fuming about the whole mess. Zhang then stood up to leave but got hit with a surprise. Her pants got stuck to the wood and her underwear was on full display. She was totally mortified and just froze. He started joking, saying her underwear was pink. Zhang was furious, asking why Chu Qing hadn't said anything. The protagonist shot back that he wrote it in the letter, but that trap was meant for him. In a quick move, she whipped off her jacket and tied it around her waist to cover the tear. This time she flipped the script and joked, leaving him blushing. She asked what he thought about her being in just a bra. Without missing a beat, he used his jacket to cover her up. He told her he didn't want other boys checking her out. Trying to figure out his feelings, she asked if he was jealous. Even so, she took off the jacket and tossed it back to him, telling him to get used to it. Chu Qing was fuming, and Zhang said the game was about to start. With the game rolling, both teams were going all out. The match was far from over, and both sides were hungry for that win. The protagonist noticed how well Zhang had whipped the team into shape, but he sensed something was off with the other team. They seemed a bit lost throughout the game. Meanwhile, at the president's table, Li Huanjie asked Zhang if that was her boyfriend on the bench, and to stir the pot, suggested borrowing Chu Qing if her team won. Zhang shot that down without a second thought, ending that convo. The rival couldn't believe she'd lose, saying if she did, she'd run naked. That convo wrapped up, and the rival team's president started barking orders at the players. They switched up their game plan, moving differently than before. The home team felt totally thrown off. They weren't ready for this shift. Then they started racking up points, sending Zhang Ziyang into a panic. The president realized the rival team was tanking on purpose and was fuming. Li Huanjie kept the heat on, reminding her about lending her boyfriend. Chu Qing kept his eyes glued to how the game was playing out. He totally knew the rival team was way better than they were showing, no cap. Then Zhang Ziyang got the news that it was his turn to hit the court. He was all, why should he even play if he was just chilling on the bench, and she told him to chill and not stir the pot. They had to snag that win. Zhang joked about lending the boyfriend to the rival team's president for a month. He jumped in on the banter, asking if it was the cute girl at the table with her. She was shook, couldn't believe he just said that. The main dude cracked a joke about wanting Kim as his cheerleader while he played. The president, not wanting to be outdone, decided to flirt back and promised a reward if he scored. He was hyped, and she, true to her word, put the player in a cheerleader outfit. Feeling good about everything, it was finally time for him to hit the game. On his first play, he snatched the ball from the rival player. He was fast, leaping high, ready to flip the game on its head. But it wasn't a walk in the park, and President Li Huanger was loving the chaos. She teased that Zhang's boyfriend was trash and winning would be a piece of cake. The score was definitely not in their favor, so Kim whipped up a strategy to tackle the whole mess. He went for his best move and took a shot, nailing the basket. The cheerleaders went wild, celebrating the score change. He noticed something off with the rival captain, so he passed the ball to him, trying to figure it out. No one got why Kim did that. Everyone was just standing there, speechless. The rival president was having a blast, thinking he was about to bounce with her. But just as the rival captain was about to make his move, the main dude yanked his shorts and spotted a thong. He asked where the dude's manhood was hiding. Everyone was shook, jaws dropped, totally confused. Li Huangye was frustrated but seemed to know what was up. The girl in the thong froze in the middle of the court while the game wrapped up. The rival team got disqualified, and he finally got what was going on with their captain. Kim's first thought was to ask Li when she'd pay up for that promise. Being clever, the president challenged his guts to actually follow through. 3 days later, at the same school, during class, Kim was scribbling in his notebook. His buddy Ye rolled up, asking what he was drawing that looked straight up awful. Showing off the drawing and questioning Ye's understanding, the main dude explained the inner power of a guy practicing ancient martial arts. Ye brought a message from Tang Xian, asking Kim to hit up the martial arts training pavilion. He started imagining all the wild reasons she wanted him there. When he got there, he found Tang Xian ready to throw down. And that's exactly what went down. She called him into fight, and he asked why they were doing this. Her response was that if he lost, she'd spill the reason. Then they kicked off a messy brawl, and he ended up winning. Still, he wanted to know why she invited him out of the blue. Tangzi reminded him that she'd only tell if he lost. To wrap up the fight, she landed a surprise hit, making her the champ. He hit the ground, questioning how he got into this madness. She was annoyed he didn't keep his promise at the end of the game, telling him he was just a kid. Tang asked if he'd stopped practicing ancient martial arts, and he told her to chill, saying he wouldn't let her be a widow. They kept that awkward convo going while playfully wrestling and flirting. In a bold move, she kissed him, leaving him breathless and shook. He interrupted, saying they shouldn't be there, and she asked if he was embarrassed. He shot back that there was no way he could feel ashamed in that moment. Then someone showed up, making a loud cough to let them know they were there. The couple, totally distracted, started wondering who it could be. In the background, outside the arena, a group of 4 people was hanging out. One of them was a super well-dressed woman with flawless makeup and hair on point. Tang, without a second thought, yanked her boyfriend by the collar and introduced him as if he were a criminal on trial. She told her dad this was her boyfriend, Chu Qing. Then she casually introduced her chill dad, Qing Yu, as the owner of the Central Martial Arts Pavilion. Chu Qing was totally lost, trying to figure out how he ended up in this wild situation. The dad downplayed it, saying it was all a bit exaggerated, that the Tang family owned the place, and he just managed it. He also mentioned that the 3 boys with him were invited by Tang. The girl backed him up, making the protagonist wonder what was up with all this. The 3 boys started to defend themselves, apologizing for setting a trap for Chu Qing and even for their terrible game against the high school team. The president chimed in, saying she'd deal with Li Huang later, but besides being bad at basketball and trapping Chu Qing, they also glued the chair, and the 3 boys were freaking out. While chaos erupted between the president and the 3 students, Chu Qing felt a wave of relief wash over him. The girl's dad then invited her boyfriend to help with the wounds and told her to clean up, saying he'd be back soon. Chu Qing thought that was a bit rude to Ziyang, but he went along with it, and they headed out together. Once they got to a private room, he told the boy to take a seat. The protagonist quickly mentioned that it seemed like Ziyang's dad wanted to chat. Qing Yu poured some hot tea and started asking questions about the boy's life. Feeling super awkward, the protagonist imagined the man had already dug up his entire life story. Finally, he took a deep breath and braced himself for the cringe-worthy conversation. Chu Qing poured his own tea and asked if it was a problem that he was broke and couldn't support the Tang family. The dad shot back that it didn't matter who he was, but how he looked, and he seemed rude and worthless. In a sarcastic tone, the boy promised he wouldn't marry into the Tang family, but he knew some people wouldn't believe that. The dad's irritation peaked, causing him to spill the tea and move closer to the boy. Chu Qing shot back that if Tang Xiang didn't want him, he'd definitely keep his distance. In response, the father slapped Chu Qing across the face. From that moment, the tension in the room skyrocketed, and the pavilion owner warned he'd scratch the protagonist's face. A wild brawl broke out between Chu Qing and Qing Yu. That's when Tang Ziang realized something was seriously off. Everyone heard the ruckus and rushed in to see what was going down. When they arrived, all the furniture was flipped or smashed. The protagonist was standing tall, and the dad was sprawled on the floor, still trying to get up. The man kept attacking the boy, saying he'd need to worry about being a martial arts warrior. Ziyang burst in, asking what happened, and her boyfriend replied they'd have to break up since her dad wanted him to stay away. The father clarified he hadn't told him to stay away from her, just that he couldn't be the head of the family, and now believed even more that he wasn't man enough for her. Fuming, Chu Qing pointed at the man's face and demanded to hear what he had to say. The boy declared he'd never marry, even if the girl begged him on her knees. Continuing his rant, he told the man to focus on his own life and reminded him that everyone who had hit him ended up dead, and he'd be the exception, thanks to the daughter. Qing Yu lost it and asked if they should go back to fighting. The boy then hurled the yellow sword at Tang Xiang's dad. The sword barely grazed him, making the man fall to the ground, completely terrified. The three boys watching were stunned, thinking Chu Qing was straight up scary. Xiang rushed to help her dad up after all that drama. Meanwhile, in another room, a clan was trying to solve some mystery. They were gathered, piecing together the puzzle of Chu Chai's death. The messenger, Jian Yu, in a purple robe. One of them handed an unknown object to a blonde woman, showing she found something valuable. She pointed out that Ziyu must be hiding something, but since he was part of the Zai family, they couldn't capture him. So she decided to switch up the strategy. At Chu Qing's house, the promised bride bursts into his room, asking about their weekend plans. Noticing his empty room, she feels let down and wonders where he's at. Meanwhile, Chu Qing steps out of the building and spots the three boys hanging around, asking what they're still doing there. From that moment, the three boys start calling Chu Qing bro, hoping he'll have their backs in tough spots. While saying he's off to grab some medicine for the injured boys, Xiang shows up out of nowhere. The dude then asks if she's got any medicine to spare. In a quick move, she just tosses the medicine at him. He hands it over to the boys, who are super thankful. The girl decides to walk off solo, but Chu Qing trails behind, asking if she's mad. He tells her that if she wants, he can apologize, but not for himself. Xiang replies there's no need, and she knows her dad isn't exactly a role model. The boy acts like he's been let off the hook with that info. Tang Ziyang admits she knew he was strong, but didn't think Chu Qing was stronger than her. Defending himself, the dude explains he just knows how to scare people. Seeming to switch gears, she asks if he's practicing martial arts. In response, he can't believe she's not upset about what went down with her dad. With a sad look, Tang Ziang shares that her boyfriend dumped her. She remembers when he said even if she begged on her knees, he wouldn't marry her. Trying to flip the script, he tells her that even if he doesn't marry her, he wants her to be his girl. The girl, confused and wiping her tears, asks how he can be so sure she'd marry him. He looks her in the eyes and asks, if she doesn't marry a guy as good as him, who will she marry? Tang Ziang wonders if she can trust those words. He hesitates, doesn't answer, and she figures they wouldn't marry, so she's been rejected. The dude tells her that even if they don't marry, they'll be together forever. As a doubt, she asks if he'd marry someone else. He promises he wouldn't. While Ye is around, he'd only make her a second wife. With that, a new argument kicks off, and he leaves, finding it hilarious. As if startled, he stops and sees a woman chilling on the building's wall. Seeing that, he remembers a master who was out for revenge. To keep Tang Ziyang out of it, he tells her he's off to chat with an old friend and says goodbye. The girl refuses to let him go, and he explains that the Taoist aunt wants revenge because of Ye. She stomps on his foot with all her strength and tells him not to die before she comes back to help. As the girl bolts away, the woman approaches Chu Qing. Without a word, she just glares at him and attacks with a quick strike. Thus, they kick off a battle. Chu Qing dodges and realizes that the women of Li are way stronger than in the fairy world. The woman, using all her cunning, spots Tang Ziyang running and chases after her. The dude, seeing this, tries to stop her and goes after the woman. She grabs him by the neck and demands he hand over the martial art he used, or she'll take everyone out. He replies that he's cool with that and asks if she wants to see his other treasures. Grinning, she says that besides his life, she wants everything. He tries to change the topic, asking if she wants to learn the wind technique. She tells him she'll make him wish he were dead. To wiggle out of the situation, Chu Qing says if she really wanted him, he wouldn't be able to resist. The woman laughs, saying if she wanted, he wouldn't even stand a chance. As she drags him away, she explains he'll need to die to comfort the spirits of her students. Arriving at some unknown spot at sunset, the dude asks why she brought him here. She tells him he's about to suffer to extract his techniques straight from his fluids. Clearly scared, he tries to convince her he won't succeed in that attempt. As the boy tries to start a casual convo, she tosses him aside, showing off her power and strength. Unexpectedly, Balas Wang Chuan shows up, wondering if she's there to take him down because of that messenger he took out. The blonde demands they hand him over. The woman who fought alongside Chu Qing isn't having it and tells the blonde it all depends on her skills. And just like that, a battle kicks off. Chu Qing figures it doesn't matter who wins, he's toast either way. So, believing he's got no other choice, he throws his sword at the first woman, hitting her right in the back. He justifies it by saying she would have definitely taken him out, so he had to act. Before he can even blink, the woman drops dead. Balas watches the whole thing unfold, waiting for the dust to settle. As she takes off her robe, she calls him cruel. That's when Chu Qing realizes she's his promised fiancée. She tells him she came to save him but ended up stumbling upon something wild and asks if he really killed that purple-robed emissary. The protagonist admits he did take out a purple-robed supervisor and asks if she came to investigate. Surprised, she says yes, but never thought the killer would be chilling right under her roof. With a weapon aimed at Chu Qing's chest, she demands to know why he did it. Quick on his feet, the boy gives her two options. Either he killed in self-defense or his fiancée told him to do it. Caught off guard, she's confused about why he's saying that, even with the marriage thing hanging over them. He explains he just didn't want to kick the bucket. Bursting into laughter, she jokes about the chance of getting a hotel room. Turning the vibe around, the blonde pulls out a drawing she found and asks where he got that info. He tells her he drew it, even though she's skeptical. He insists he wouldn't lie to her. With a curious look, she wonders if he can whip up training methods. He shoots that down, saying it's just a prototype. That totally flipped how she saw her future fiancé, and she admits he could actually get into National University. She proposes a deal. She'll help him with the Chuhan mess, and he'll help her heal. He responds that he has no clue what's wrong with her body, and she says it'll depend on his skills to figure it out. Otherwise, she'll have to send him to the Ministry of Supervision. So it's clear they can heal her, and the Chuhan issue is already on the table. Then she starts explaining why they should get married, but with a twist. He has to give her a kiss to get the info. Chuhan asks for the details before the kiss and admits he thinks she's beautiful. Then the blonde explains that the supervision department is a big deal and has always been run by someone from the Kong family, the royal family. The boy starts to realize his fiancée is a big deal too. She explains she can't be empress because of some rules, but one family broke that tradition, which is why they need to tie the knot. Chu gets that it's all just a convenient reminder. Then the blonde checks if he can really help. The boy's condition? He wants Wang bullets. After she turns him down, he pulls out a pill from his pants and says he could trade it for the bullets. The girl wonders if that pill would heal her. He doesn't confirm but promises to figure it out. The pill is a tonic that boosts strength by 30%. After taking it, she instantly feels the power surge. Buzzing with energy, she grabs the Wang and asks for 10 bullets in return. The boy is blown away by that bullet, realizing it's way stronger than the one Chu Han hit him with. The fiancé explains this one's a higher level, but the ultimate is level 5. Then they kick off the treatment, starting with her face. She feels the change happening, and sure enough, her face starts transforming, getting slimmer, and he kisses her cheek. She checks herself out in the mirror and is amazed, and they hug it out in celebration. Chu Qing reminds her she can only do it for her face, not the rest of her body. Feeling a bit bummed, she's indignant about having a normal face and a puffy body. He breaks it down, saying this isn't about her training, it's about her whole vibe, and if it keeps up, she's toast. The bride's shook by this news and suggests he help her whip up a killer training plan. The boys all, creating training methods isn't a walk in the park, and it looks like her spiritual root got snatched ages ago. Not even fazed by the tea spilled, the protagonist drops a bomb, saying it was probably one of his fam who jacked her spiritual root. She's fuming now, gun pointed, telling him to zip it. Chu Qing, being a total troll, pokes at her, saying she's probably itching for revenge, even if it means going down with the ship. Fuming, she fires a shot at him and orders him to bounce. He warns her that pushing it like that could mess up her treatment. For real, the blonde's face starts bleeding, and the whole treatment goes sideways. Chu Qing spills the tea that the Chu fam is after him just to trap him in a marriage, realizing the beef between them is unfixable. He suggests they team up, promising to give it his all to help her out. As he's about to dip, he tells her to chill on the martial arts for now, or she might just kick the bucket. With blood on her face, she looks totally stunned that he's actually down to help. Meanwhile, Tang Xin comes sprinting in, dragging a woman with her. They see the aftermath of a struggle but no sign of anyone. Xian's getting annoyed with Tang Xin, her second aunt, for throwing shade. Xian's all, she wasn't feeling it since she was forced to come defend her boyfriend, and questions if her niece is too into her little crush. Suddenly, the girl's phone starts buzzing. It's Chu Qing dropping updates. He lets her know he's back home and they'll catch up at school tomorrow. Tang Xin lets out a sigh of relief, but her aunt's still itching to hit up Chu Qing's place. At dinner, the protagonist's mom asks if the bride's joining them. He explains she's probably on a flight back to the Imperial City. The parents look a bit lost but mention the marriage is still on. He chimes in that she's not planning to tie the knot for at least a year or two and spills the tea on the arranged marriage drama. The parents are left speechless, looking like they already knew what was up. Meanwhile, Chu Qing's plotting how to get back at that enemy family. On the plane back to the Imperial City, Gong Yu gets handed a list of folks who've been in touch with Jia Yu. Glancing at the list, she realizes the only close contact was Chu Qing and thinks their fates are totally linked. Back at Chu Qing's place, he decides to check on his sister's room after Gong Yu crashed there. When he swings the door open, he spots a huge hole and thinks it's time to call his sister for some laughs. When he dials, a dude picks up her phone, leaving him totally confused. While his sister's with another guy, her phone rings, and she accidentally answers. Chu Qing, being a jokester, pretends to be her new boyfriend. Xing Tao looks super bummed out. Desperate, the sister snatches the phone from her boyfriend and asks what her brother's up to. Laughing, he tells her to hand the phone back and clarifies he's her brother, just messing around. A sibling roast session kicks off and she's all, "What's so important?" To win her over, he asks if she wants him to send her some cash. With a big grin, she says yes, claiming he's the best brother ever. Checking his balance, he sees he's got 360,000 rays and wonders if Ye Chengxi dropped that. The sister, worried, says this can't keep going on. What would people think of her brother, who's racked up so much cash from Ye Chengxi? And the boyfriend chimes in, saying if she's messing with him, he'll step in. The girl explains that Chengxi sure is part of the Ye family. Meanwhile, at school, the three boys are still treating Chu Qing like their boss. The so-called boss wants them to get into ancient martial arts. He explains that his training is on a whole different level, and he needs people who can actually keep up. They all agree that Chu Qing will personally train the three of them. Interrupting that convo, a girl chillin' against a slick car throws shade, asking if Chu Qing is out here bullying his classmates. He, looking all friendly, tells her he's not that type and asks what she's doing there. She offers him some tea with milk, claiming it's not spiked, and says she came to find him. The boy turns it down, saying it's just not his vibe. Suddenly, the girl leans in, trying to plant a kiss on him. But then, someone else jumps in, asking if he's Chu Qing. He confirms it, and the blonde security lady says the head of the family wants to see him. They quickly realize it's the Tang family and he heads over to the car to meet them. When he gets there, he asks if his aunt was looking for him. Inside the car, there's a super classy woman and Tang Ziyang's dad. Chu Qing kicks things off with some sass, asking if the nanny was part of the convo too. Qing Yu snaps back, saying he's not a good match for Tang Ziyang. She shoots back that she's not his mother-in-law, and he gets the vibe that this family thinks he's beneath them. Stepping back, he asks what they want besides calling him arrogant, stubborn, and reckless. The so-called mother-in-law compares being smart and deserving her daughter to the fishing town of Yongyang. Chu Qing fires back, saying they must have top-tier taste. They exchange looks, and the convo wraps up when Tang Ziyang shows up. The girl asks what her mom is doing there. Then she wonders why Chu Qing is also around. He doesn't answer, just pulls her in for a kiss, leaving her parents totally shocked. Tang Ziyang steps back and hops in the car, telling her it's late and she should head home. Dragged by Ye Qianxi, he gets tossed into the girl's car and asks who made her nervous. Ye says she'll handle it and that he should have thought twice before kissing Tang Ziyang in front of her. Feeling satisfied, she insists he better not be near other girls when she's around. When he hops out of the car, she mentally claims him as hers and no one else's. On the way home, he gets a surprise call from his sister. She asks him to look after their parents and apologize for her. He's totally confused about what's going on. Then a woman grabs the phone, giving him half an hour to reach the Drunken Dream building. If he's even a second late, he'll find only a dead body, and we see his sister lying on the ground. Chu Qing zooms over the city while on the phone, asking if anyone knows where the Drunken Dream house is. The person tells him it's the top spot for selling gold and that its boss is a legendary woman, Meng Zui. Known for her insane strength, she says she can't help Chu Qing. He replies he doesn't need help, but stresses he has to save his sister, no matter what. Arriving at the building, he sees a fancy structure and is soon directed to the 67th floor. When he reaches the 67th floor at the end of the hall, he spots a closed white door. The protagonist heads over and upon arrival, finds his sister tied up on the floor. Seeing her brother, the girl begs him to run and leave, but gets interrupted by a kick from the woman with her. Chu Qing fights back, starting a brawl, but they're interrupted by a voice telling them to stop. The woman with long hair and a veil asks if he's Chu Qing. Leaving the fight, the boy says he is. His sister, panicking, begs him to stop talking and just get out of there. With his hands, the protagonist casts a spell to make his sister sleep for a bit, promising he'll take her home soon. Chu Qing asks who that woman is and why she's got his sister. The woman introduces herself as Meng Zui, the owner of the place, and tells him his sister worked as a bartender there. Already stressed, the boy asks what his sister did to get beat up so badly. Meng replies he should be grateful his sister is still alive. The protagonist declares that anyone who messes with his family is asking for trouble. The Taoist woman launches a quick strike at Chu Qing, saying she wants to see if he's tough enough to say that. The boy realizes how fast she is but manages to dodge the hit. He takes a tonic but wonders if he can actually beat her. A battle kicks off, and Meng throws shade at the boy, doubting his skills to protect his sister. As he pops the meds, a massive explosion rocks the place, catching the woman off guard. He snags the Sword of Death. Even with all those explosions and the shockwaves, Meng strolls through the smoke, questioning the protagonist's game. Meng lands a hit that could split the ground and says Chu Qing is just a kid. The clever boy asks for a second to chat. The woman wonders what he wants to talk about. The protagonist asks what's going down here. The veiled woman spills that his sister got tangled up with the wrong dude and she's there to sort it out. Chu Qing begs her to let his sister go. Meng steps closer, lifts her veil, and reveals a handprint on her face. Chu Qing is low-key impressed that someone had the guts to smack her. In response, the woman drops the bomb that Chu Xiao hooked up with the mayor's son, and that's why she got slapped. The protagonist asks what she wants in return. The woman demands 300 million to get his sister back. Thinking fast, the protagonist suggests she let his sister go, and he'll handle the mayor. They agree that in 3 days, Chu Xiao needs to sort out the cash situation. He chucks a stone at Meng so she can see the value of the object. Realizing its worth, she asks for 20 spiritual exchanges for the boy's request. But on top of that, he also has to crash at her place that night. With the deal made, he lays his sister on a bed while Meng gives him a hug. Chu Qing jokes that she shouldn't expect any sympathy. Out of nowhere, the woman scoops him up. He just thinks he's never going to be carried like a princess. Once in the room, Chu Qing wonders why she didn't just off him and snag all the spiritual stones if that was easier. Meng says she'd miss out on too many future perks if she did that. Meanwhile, she mentions her guesses are pretty spot on, calling it a talent. Chu Qing feels wiped out, questioning why he even agreed to this wild woman. Meng pops up with a syringe, asking if he's rested enough. Jumping off the bed and swinging his yellow sword, he chases after her, ready to attack. Fuming, he declares he'll take his sister back, and if she disagrees, he might just die trying, but he'll take her down too. Fueled by rage, he storms out and grabs his sister from that building. Meng is totally intrigued, finding the protagonist's vibe super interesting. Back home, their dad rolls up, asking if they know what time it is and what happened to his daughter's face. Chu Qing spins a story that the police called about his sister being kidnapped, but she's all good. The dad, confused, points out they're broke, so why would anyone kidnap her? And the son fires back, saying a lot of girls get kidnapped these days. Unintentionally, the man mentions something went down at the mom's company. Chu Qing asks what's up with the mom's company, but the dad dodges the question, telling him to shower and hit the hay. Curious, he decides to make a call to figure out what's going on. The girl wonders if it's because of her, due to the debt over the love between Chu Qing and Tang Ziyang. Overwhelmed by all this drama, he lets sleep take over and crashes. The next day, Chu Qing decides to roll over to his mom's company. It's his first time visiting her. Interrupting a convo at the reception, the protagonist asks where the general director's office is, since he's in a rush to see her. The receptionist decides to show him the way. On the way, they have a bunch of awkward small talk. Then, right in the hallway, Chu Qing spots his mom. Seeing her son, the president asks why he's there. The secretary apologizes, saying he's a distant nephew, and Chu Qing's mom looks confused by that. This leads to a messy convo, making the president wonder if the secretary wants to be her daughter-in-law. The protagonist is shocked to see his mom getting all fired up like that. The president tells the secretary to head to finance to wrap up her dismissal. At the same time, the woman asks why her son isn't in school. In a private room, the seated woman asks if it's not a regular school day. Defending himself, Chu Qing shows a paper that says school certificate, letting her know he had permission to be there. Leaving the joke aside, the mom is seriously questioning what went down with her sister, cause she can't wrap her head around that convo she had with their dad. The main dude sits next to his mom and spills the tea on what really happened. The president, totally shocked, asks the kid how he had the guts to step into that kind of place. Qing tells his mom that he and his sisters are all good, but he knows he's got to handle the rest of the mess solo. With a flick of his wrist, he lifts water from a glass, shows off his skills, and then plops it back in the same glass. With that move, the main dude wanted to prove to his mom that he's strong enough to protect himself and the fam. The president, looking worried, says she thought Ye Chengxi had changed her son. She had no clue there were other things going on. Keeping the convo rolling, Chu Qing asks what's up with his mom's company, and she shoots back that it's not his problem. Just then, Ye Chengxi bursts in, calling the president mother-in-law. The woman lets her in, and Chu Qing is left scratching his head about what that girl is doing there. She jumps in, saying she heard her mother-in-law's company was in trouble and wanted to see if she could help. Meanwhile, Chu Ching is thinking about how to score a weapon that could use the Wang Chu bullet. The girl chimes in that finding a weapon would be a piece of cake, and the main dude asks her to help him out. Trying to wrap up that convo, he says he'll check if Wawa needs anything. Ye Chengshi catches on that he's trying to brush her off and with a fierce move presses him, asking why. She drags him into the women's bathroom and says she's gonna teach him a lesson about who she really is. Ching turns her down, saying he can't that day. In response, she warns him not to let her catch his other girlfriends, or she might just take them out. Next to him, she says she's giving him a heads up so he won't blame himself later. With a slightly confused look, he wonders how, even as a girl, she wants to be the boss in the relationship. Then, the main dude makes a break for it, claiming he has to bounce now. Pissed, she yanks on his shirt hard. Without holding back, the brunette says it's weird, cause he can't even sit still and questions if he's messing around with some other girl. Well, the boy remembers something he did with the blonde. His face gives it away, and his girlfriend gets furious, realizing who Chu Ching really is. In the car, the boy thinks that thanks to Ye Chengshi, he almost forgot about his own problems. His brother-in-law's place is on Suzaku Street. The folks living there are all powerful. Besides the houses that couldn't be bought just with cash, it also needed a ton of dough. When he rolls up to the house, it looks all peaceful and chill at first, but he has no idea how many cameras are lurking around and feels a serious vibe. It's impossible to meet the Singh family members directly, plus he doesn't know all their powers. He can't just waltz in without some serious prep. If Chu Ching manages to get in, he'll first need to find his brother-in-law and see what his vibe is. If he's anything like Mayor Xingli, it'll be tough. But if he really loves the main dude's sister, he'll be another ally to change the mayor's mind about her. A car pulls up, and Tang Xiang hops out. The boy steps out of the car and asks if she was looking for him and how she knew he'd be there. Fuming, the girl asks why he skipped school for 2 days. The main dude replies that he was in a funk and needed to chill. Worried but still a bit jittery, she asks why he needed 2 days to relax and if he's mad. Not getting where she's coming from, the boy asks why he would be mad. In a low voice, she says something went down with his mom's company, and it's the Tang family's fault. Last time her mom met with him, she must have said some not-so-great stuff, which is why she thinks he's upset with her. Putting his hand on Ziyang's cheek, the main dude tells her she worries too much and that him not going to school has nothing to do with her. But the fact that she cares about him really makes him feel good. Blushing, she says she's his girlfriend and still fears that when she isn't looking, he might mess around with others, cause he's quite the troublemaker. Then he seriously thinks he's not her dog and she shouldn't be under his control. The protagonist asks if she knows Zui Meng. The girl with pink hair replies that there are masters in Jingmen. Zui Meng is second in the ranking and runs the biggest underworld biz in Jingmen, so she asks how he knows her. He says there was a big name by that title in Jingmen and asks who the other masters are. The girl replies that the first is Wei from the Xing fam, then there are 2 from the Tang fam, her mom and her aunt, 2 from the Li fam, and finally 2 from the supervision squad. He thinks it's a good thing he decided to just chill and observe, or things could get messy. Hua Hua is a pro at gathering info, and he needs to hit her up for help. At the girl's crib, he thanks her for sorting out his mom's company drama. She's a super cute girl, just out of the shower and rocking pajamas. In response to his thanks, she says it was no biggie and hugs his arm. Blushing and locking eyes with him, she says she just showered and invites him to come hang out. Ignoring her, the protagonist says he needs her help with something. A bit later, while explaining what she should do, he wraps up by saying that for his sister to be safe, he needs to sneak into the Xing family's house that very night. The girl with peach-colored hair warns that the family is one of the richest and most powerful in Jingmen, so getting that info won't be easy, but she'll do her best to help him. Then she asks what information about the Xing family he needs. He talks while she types. He needs the monitoring system of Suzaku Street, the alarms of the Xing house, and a layout of the house with the staff setup. Suddenly, a step is heard. He feels a creepy vibe behind him. He quickly draws his sword and points it at the brunette. Quickly retracting her weapon, the girl asks why she can't come in and says she went to look for him at her mother-in-law's house. But since she didn't find him, she thought he was with the brunette and at that moment knew about the lie. Both are in shock, and he's even more so because he's been caught. Without any filter, Chu Ching asks how she got in if he had locked the door. Turning the key, she replies that it's because she has the key. Irritated, he questions how she has the key. Embarrassed, the lowly says she gave the key to her. Then he goes towards the brunette, snatches the key from her hand, and tosses it in the trash. The boy tells her not to come back and states that the girl only likes to mess with honest people. Pointing at him, she says he only knows how to protect the little one, and ends by saying she wants to see what he'll do when he needs her. She then leaves. He looks at the girl and tells her that she doesn't need to listen to her next time. If she keeps bothering him, she can just talk to him. The cute girl thanks him and asks if it wouldn't be better for him to go after Sister Ye, as she seems super angry. Shaking the girl, he asks her to forget and think more about herself, asking what else they can do. An explosion happens at the door. It's the jealous one, with a gun, breaking down the door. The protagonist freaks out, as now the crazy one has a gun behind them. He asks to talk it out. Tired of stories, she pulls the trigger, and the bullet heads toward them. The girl dodges, and he runs after the crazy one and quickly grabs the gun. Very angry, the boy shouts, calling her an uncontrolled lunatic, and questions if she really had the guts to shoot. She sees no problem in shooting, as it's Jing Men. He yells, asking if she's happy to kill him with that gun. The answer is wild, as she says she doesn't plan to kill him, but rather to make a hole in his private parts so he stops flirting with other girls. Laughing, the brunette asks if he liked the gun and if she fulfilled his request efficiently. He realizes it's the right gun for the Wang Chuan level 3 bullet he got from Gong Yue. Unfortunately, he needs to thank her, as it was exactly what he needed. The protagonist sends her home, but she says her car broke down and she'll have to crash there that night. Seeing the brunette getting cozy with him, she looks jealous and sad. Immediately, the boy pushes her away and tells her to watch TV in the living room, as he and Hua Hua have work to do. Irritated, she asks why she can't see them work. The answer is that exam season is creeping up and the girl is totally down to help him review the homework. She's only in it because math is the last thing she wants to deal with. In the room, the cute girl shows him where the cameras and alarms are, but warns that once he steps into the Xing residence, she's got his back with all that stuff. The guy thanks her, feeling pretty lucky. Just then, the jealous one storms in, saying it's way too quiet. Seeing them both at the computer, she tries to act chill, asking if they want some water. He's not buying it and tells her to scram. The girl keeps grilling them. She wants to hang out again, but can't think of a good excuse. She glances at a delivery card she brought and, when she tries to open the door, realizes it's locked. Then, she pushes the door and sees they're still glued to the screen. Holding up the boxes, she says she ordered skewers for them to munch on. Fuming, he just drags her outside and gives her a playful smack on the butt. Totally embarrassed, the girl asks how he had the guts to do that. He shoots back that if that wasn't enough, he's ready to dish out more. Now outside, the protagonist thinks she's just messing with him since her car seems fine. Always, and sometimes, he just tosses her into the back seat. With a suspicious look, he says there's nothing wrong with her car, then waves goodbye. Desperate, Ye yanks on his shirt. Then, the girl grabs him and shoves him inside. Seeing her on his lap, Chu explains he's got no time to mess around, even though he's got stuff to sort out. Cutting him off, Ye leans in and kisses him. While thinking she needs to use him up so there's nothing left for that short girl, she keeps pushing. Embarrassed, the hero just shoves her away. He then says he's really busy. With a flirty look, the girl asks if he's sure about that. Switching things up, the hero grabs her wrist. Looking down at her, he calls her a little troublemaker. Then, he decides to kiss her, saying he's going to finish what they started. After they get cozy, both start getting dressed. Excited, the girl asks if he enjoyed it or if he's mad at her. He replies he's not mad, and even if he was, it wouldn't be at her. While wondering if she could be graceful for once, he gives the boy a gentle pat. He says she feels they're drifting apart and that the issue is he keeps bickering with other girls, yet still gets all worked up. Slapping his hand, the protagonist thinks he doesn't want to be treated like a puppy and that if anyone else did that, he'd have cut their hand off. Opening the car door, he tells her it's time to head home and that they'll catch up later. Upset, Ye asks if he's coming back right away, but the boy looks back and starts to hesitate. He wonders if he should swing by Hua Hua right after dropping off Ye, and it feels a bit off, but he still needs to sort out his sister's mess. However, Ye steps up and slaps his butt, leaving the boy totally stunned. Laughing, she says this is her revenge for earlier and that she had a blast doing it. Then, she says he's not like other guys and that if he were, he wouldn't have caught her eye, since she digs guys who play hard to get and insists that one day he'll be chasing her. Chu realizes she's got that popular girl vibe from his world and that no matter how many flings she has, she won't get into trouble. As he leaves, he wonders if this is a good thing or if he's asking for too much. At that moment, Ye calls out to him. Smiling, she asks if he can't just be a good boy. Then, the boy fires back with a question about her not being a good girl and marrying him. Responding, Ye says there's no issue and asks if he's underage, since it seems way too early. Then, the hero asks if what they just did in the car was child's play, which leaves her totally embarrassed. Being super direct, he asks what she wants as a wedding gift. With a passionate look, she says she wants the whole city of Jimin. As he walks away, the hero says that could work and that she should just make sure to be a good girl. Embarrassed, Ye comments that he's saying all this without even thinking about kissing. That night, at the Li family house, Hua Hua asks the guard if he can see the small building on the left, which is where Xing Li's son lives. Then, he drops the bomb that he's already hacked the cameras and security alarms. But the girl's all, "You still gotta be careful though." Slipping on the mask, the hero reassures him, saying he's got everything under control. Hiding out, he thinks it's wild that both his sister and future brother-in-law are getting along. Guess he should go after him first. Peeking through the window, he spots something he definitely didn't want to see. Hiding again, he realizes this must be Miss Xing Yu, and wow, they're really vibing. In that moment, he figures Xiao must be upstairs, but then he notices something super weird. He quickly scrambles up one of the trees. An old lady, carrying plates of food, is giving off some serious, mysterious vibes. She starts staring at one of the trees. Feeling all kinds of nervous, the hero grabs his walkie-talkie. Turning around, the old lady wonders if anyone's around and jokes that she's getting more useless every day as she ages. Then she says the young master barely eats, and if this keeps up, he'll end up fainting. At this, Chu realizes that even while hiding, the old lady sensed him and concludes she's definitely the top master of Xingmen. A bit later, the future brother-in-law is chilling on his bed. He's scrolling through a picture of his crush on his phone. Spying, Chu figures the dude must be Xiao Tao, and yep, he's still crushing on his sister. So, he sneaks into the room. In front of the door, he uses his skills to twist the doorknob. Without even looking, the boy says he won't eat anything and just wants to see Chu Xiao, but then he realizes it's not his grandma. Seeing the hero in that mask and armed up, he's totally shocked. Before he can scream, the hero just covers his mouth. He insists the boy should chill and introduces himself as Chu Qing, Chu Xiao's little bro. Worried, the boy asks how his sister is and if something's wrong. Then, the protagonist asks if he knows what's up with her. Crying and shaking, the boy asks if she's okay and claims it's all his fault for getting mixed up in this mess. Worried, Chu tells him to keep it down, saying his mom wanted to take her out, but he saved her. At that moment, the boy says it's all on him, since his mom wanted him to marry Tang Jian, no matter what. In shock, the hero realizes if he hadn't fallen for his sister, he'd be wearing a green hat. Determined, the boy asks if the protagonist came to rescue him and says he just needs a minute to grab his stuff, and they can bounce right now. But the hero explains he's looking for his mom to negotiate. Feeling down, the boy says that won't work, since she won't see him or listen. At this, Chu says he'll give it a shot and just needs to make sure Master Xing doesn't mess up his plans, but the boy says that's impossible because he's trapped. Then, the hero suggests he should pretend to be dead or stir up some chaos to keep her busy for 30 minutes. Excited, the boy says that's easy, and as long as he can find her, he can even ask to keep her company for a night, and that'll be no problem at all. At that moment, the protagonist just jumps out of the bedroom window. Looking to the side, he starts hearing the sound of a shower. Chu begins to think of a plan. The woman with pink hair steps out of her bath but suddenly senses something off. She comes face to face with the hero, who's rocking a mask and holding a weapon. Surprisingly, the woman just strolls up to him with a flirty look, while the hero wonders what's up with this family. The woman, wrapped in a towel, lunges at the protagonist. She asks if he's the new guy in the family and questions the deal with the mask. Leaning in, she starts to pull off his mask and gets closer and closer. Kissing him, she says she really likes him, but after the kiss, the hero just headbutts her. The headbutt is so strong it leaves a red mark on her forehead and sends her crashing to the ground. Then, the boy asks if she still likes his mask. Sometime later, he's chilling up in a tree. Meanwhile, the elderly lady is pouring coffee while the other woman is lost in a book. The maid calls out to her boss Wei, saying the young master is trying to make a break for it. Hearing this, the woman rolls her eyes, saying this is ridiculous and wonders if he still hasn't figured it out. Meanwhile, the elderly lady tells the woman to chill, saying the young master is just a kid and she'll go check on him herself. Right now, both the maid and the elder are heading to the boy's room. Grinning, the hero thinks it's the perfect chance to sneak in. He starts knocking on the door. Surprised, the woman asks who's there. With a weapon in hand and a mask on, the hero swings the door open. Not even flinching, the woman tells him to bounce and says she'll pretend she didn't hear anything. But the protagonist brushes her off and keeps moving closer. Sinking into the armchair, he says he's come this far and wonders how he can just bail now. Then, the woman asks if he just saw Xiao Tao and comments that it's no shock he's causing chaos. She questions if he came because of Chu Xiao. At this, Chu says he's here to ask for her blessing for her son to marry Chu Xiao and wants to know what she thinks about it. The woman replies that the girl's family background is whatever and asks who he is, questioning why he wants them together. At this moment, the hero starts to peel off his mask. Surprised, the woman realizes it's Chu Qing, Chu Xiao's little brother. Impressed, she says it seems his sister is still alive and that Meng Jizui is really bold for ignoring her orders. Then, the hero explains that Meng Jizui kept his sister safe and if it weren't for her, Meng would have come after the woman, probably needing a lesson. After hearing this, the family mom crosses her arms and questions why it feels like the boy is using her. But he insists he just came to make a request and knows she's a generous person, so he suggests she forgive his sister and let her go. Adjusting her glasses, she asks if that's a threat and points out he loaded a level 3 Wang Chuan bullet in that weapon, questioning if he feels invincible now. Nervous, the hero realizes she's onto him and quickly aims his weapon at her. But the woman is super quick and leaps at him. Looking back, the protagonist realizes she's seriously fast. Unable to dodge, he gets hit and sent flying. After taking that hit, he starts to get up while coughing up blood. He wonders if this Xing Li is just an ordinary person and realizes she's also a martial arts master, easily capable of taking down the so-called 10 great masters. With a ton of energy, the woman questions how he thinks he can protect his sister with that weapon. At this, Chu admits he was a bit cocky but says winning or losing right now is pointless. Curious, the woman asks if he's got another trick up his sleeve and suggests he show it, admitting she hasn't seen anyone as impressive as him in years. Analyzing the bullet from the boy's gun, she questions if that's not the special Wangchu bullet from the Gong family. Her expression shifts completely as she asks if he's part of that family. Then, the hero says he's not, but he does have a marriage contract with them. Skeptical, the woman asks if he has proof of that. Standing up, Chu remembers she said she'd agree to the marriage of Xiao Tao and Chu Xiao if their family was as influential as the Tang family. Su Hing hands him something, telling him to check this out. Relieved, he thinks thankfully Gong Wei fixed the marriage contract and gave it back. At this moment, the woman just unrolls the contract to take a look. Mi then looks completely shocked. In disbelief, she asks if he's Madame Chu's grandson.